12 most terrifying archaeological discoveries in China that scientists still can't explain. Have you ever wondered if, hidden among the vast fields and dense mountains of China, there are archaeological mysteries so baffling that even top scientists are left stunned? These discoveries don't just puzzle experts, they send chills down the spines of anyone fascinated by exploration, thanks to how strange and unexplainable they are. We often hear about magnificent ruins and glorious tales from ancient Chinese dynasties. But some artifacts and remains raise a much deeper question. How were our ancestors able to create such things? Somewhere, buried beneath layers of earth and stone, lie bizarre, even terrifying, secrets that modern science still hasn't fully unraveled. You'll come across secrets that have been buried for thousands of years, ranging from seemingly ordinary items like bronze tools and weapons to eerie relics marked by supernatural signs or mysteries about ancient human life that still leave archaeologists gasping for answers. Today, I'm going to take you through 12 of the most chilling archaeological discoveries ever made in China, findings that remain unexplained despite decades of research. Are you ready to step into this mysterious and thrilling world? If you are, let's dive in. And don't forget to come up with your own theories along the way. The 700-year-old mummy of a beautiful woman beneath the city of Taizhou, an unsolved mystery. What would you think if, in the middle of a bustling modern city, an ancient secret, nearly perfectly preserved for 7 centuries, was suddenly uncovered? In 2011, while a crew of construction workers was expanding a road in Taizhou, Jiangsu Province, China, they accidentally struck a coffin buried just about 6.5 feet below ground. But the real surprise wasn't just the ancient coffin, it was what they found inside. The remarkably preserved mummy of a woman, a beauty from the Ming dynasty, who had lived more than 700 years ago. The workers were stunned by the discovery and immediately contacted local authorities and experts from the Taizhou Museum. Archaeologists and specialists quickly arrived at the scene, confirmed it was an ancient tomb, and carefully began the process of opening the coffin. What they saw left everyone in awe. The mummy was astonishingly intact, almost unbelievably so. The woman inside was about 5 feet tall and dressed in several layers of soft, silk clothing. Although the tomb had been flooded with water, her body showed almost no signs of decomposition. One particularly eerie and fascinating detail: her eyebrows and eyelashes were still clearly visible, as if she had only recently passed away. It was hard to believe that a body could be so well preserved after nearly 700 years, but the marvels didn't stop there. She was adorned with various pieces of valuable jewelry, necklaces, silver rings, strong evidence that she had belonged to the noble class. Burial artifacts found around her helped researchers confirm that she had lived during the Ming dynasty, which lasted from 1368 to 1644. For reference and ongoing study, experts named her the Taizhou mummy. Another puzzling detail that drew significant attention was the strange brown liquid that filled the coffin. Scientists are still struggling to determine whether it was a special embalming fluid used to preserve the body or simply groundwater that seeped in over the centuries. This unanswered question only deepens the mystery surrounding the discovery. Even more intriguing is that the woman's true identity and cause of death remain unknown. Researchers continue to analyze every detail in hopes of reconstructing the story of her life. A noblewoman who lived during a turbulent and complex period in Chinese history. Was she a notable historical figure, or just an ordinary woman who happened to come from a wealthy family? We may never know for sure. Still, this discovery does more than just offer a glimpse into ancient China. It breathes life into history itself and opens a new chapter in archaeology. It's a reminder that beneath our modern cities, countless secrets from the past are still waiting to be unearthed. China's most dangerous tomb and the 80 tomb raiders who never returned. In 2022, during a construction project in Xiangyang City, Hubei Province, China, a team of workers accidentally uncovered a slab of bluish-green stone engraved with ancient characters. Little did they know, they had just stumbled upon one of the most mysterious and deadliest tombs in China. That stone acted as a cryptic marker leading to a strange story, and the secrets buried deep beneath it soon captured the attention of archaeologists across the country. Upon receiving the report, a team of 5 archaeological experts arrived at the site to investigate and determine the origins of the tomb. One of the experts theorized that the area contained a high concentration of positive energy, suggesting that the tomb's occupant may have been a powerful male figure. The team quickly outlined the boundaries of the mausoleum and speculated that the deceased likely belonged to the military elite or was someone of high status in ancient society. Over time, however, the tomb could not escape the attention of grave robbers. As expected, signs of intrusion were eventually discovered. But as the experts continued their descent deeper into the tomb, they were met with something both strange and shocking. Despite evidence of attempted break-ins, the tomb's entrance remained sealed, and the thick layer of dust inside was nearly untouched. What they found next was almost impossible to believe. 80 bodies, scattered across the tomb's passageways, lying in various disturbing positions, some twisted, mouths wide open, others missing limbs. All of them had died under tragic, violent conditions. Based on the clothing and state of the remains, experts confirmed that these were tomb raiders from various historical periods. The would-be thieves had been trapped within the tunnels alongside large quantities of excavation tools. None of them ever made it into the inner chamber. As the researchers studied the tomb's structure more closely, they discovered an extraordinarily sophisticated security system. The walls and ceiling were not built with ordinary soil, but instead with a layer of fine, dry, free-flowing sand. This sand was engineered to collapse into any tunnel created by intruders. As soon as a raider began digging, the sand would pour down through the newly created gaps, flooding the tunnel and sealing off any exit route. Once the flow began, there was no stopping it. Even more deadly, beneath the quicksand, lay countless razor-sharp stones, capable of severely injuring or killing anyone who tried to enter. One excavation expert grimly noted, "Anyone who enters this tomb to rob it has only one way out: death." For those unfamiliar, quicksand-based traps were a common security feature in ancient Chinese mausoleums. However, constructing a tomb with such a complete and flawless trap system required extraordinary engineering skill, evidence of the intelligence and long-term planning of the tomb's original designer. Because of these intricate defense mechanisms, this tomb in Xiangyang has been dubbed by archaeologists as China's #1 killer tomb, widely recognized as the most dangerous tomb ever discovered in the country. And really, if I were to say that this tomb in Xiangyang, China, is not only an important archaeological find, but also a powerful testament to the brilliance and architectural ingenuity of ancient Chinese royalty, I don't think that would be an exaggeration at all. The 200-year-old corpse that still emits a mysterious fragrance. If someone told you that in today's modern world, a body buried more than 2 centuries ago was found completely intact, and not only that, but also emitting a sweet, fragrant scent, would you believe it? At first glance, it sounds like something straight out of a ghost story or old folklore. But no, it really happened, and it shocked the entire archaeological community in 2001. The story began on an ordinary March morning in Nangshan County, Suzhou City, Anhui Province, China. A team of workers was digging for a community construction project when they struck a strange structure buried more than 13 feet underground. At first, everyone assumed it was just some old bricks or the remains of an ancient wall. But the deeper they dug, the more unusual things became. Then, with a few decisive strikes of the shovel, a buried ancient coffin emerged from the hard-packed earth. Even from the outside, the coffin seemed different from typical graves, but the real shock came when they opened the lid. Instead of the usual damp, musty odor of decay that often accompanies ancient burial sites, a gentle, pleasant fragrance spread through the air, drifting for hundreds of feet. It wasn't just pleasant, it was strangely alluring, like some kind of ancient perfume, mysterious and captivating. Even seasoned archaeologists, people who had opened countless tombs before, were left speechless by what they saw. Inside was the body of a woman, almost completely preserved, lying in repose as if she had passed away only a few days earlier. Her hair was still black, her skin still pale, and even her joints could still bend. A corpse that had been buried for over 200 years, yet she looked like she was just peacefully sleeping. Following extensive analysis, experts determined that the woman was approximately 5 feet 3 inches tall, weighed about 97 pounds, and had died at around 30 years old. What made the discovery even more astonishing was that there was no indication she had been buried in any kind of special conditions. The coffin wasn't vacuum sealed or preserved in any modern way, yet her body remained in incredible condition. Naturally, speculation began to swirl. Some people asked, could this be Xiang Fei, the legendary fragrant concubine from the TV drama My Fair Princess, whose body supposedly emitted a scent that enchanted butterflies and bees? The woman's apparent age, appearance, and the mysterious fragrance made the theory spread like wildfire on early internet forums and social media of the time. But researchers quickly stepped in to set the record straight. Shang Fei, or the fragrant concubine, is a fictional character inspired by a real historical consort named Consort Rong, who was favored by Emperor Qianlong. However, according to historical records, Consort Rong died at age 54, while the woman in the tomb was only in her early 30s. More disturbing, the body had a deep T-shaped incision on her neck, a clear sign of a sudden death, possibly murder. And just like that, one mystery led to another. Who was this woman? Why was she buried so carefully? And where did the strange fragrance come from? Some theorize that the body may have been naturally preserved due to specific environmental conditions, such as an oxygen-deprived anaerobic setting, the chemical makeup of the soil, or even the materials used in the coffin. Others believed it might have been the result of a lost embalming technique, once reserved for members of the royal or noble classes. Still others suggested something darker, that this could be the victim of a politically motivated murder, someone important who was erased from historical records and buried discreetly in a specially prepared tomb. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain. The 200-year-old fragrant corpse found in Anhui remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of modern Chinese archaeology. The 3,000-year-old bronze hand, revealing the secret of the one-armed general of the Shang dynasty. If one day you walked into a museum and saw a small, exquisite bronze hand with an attached wooden handle and nobody told you more, what would you think it was for? Holding things? Scratching your back? Or just decorative? But no, the real story behind it carries the life of a warrior, a battle, and the loyalty of the past. Everything began in December 2000 in Anyang, Henan Province, once the ancient capital of the Shang dynasty, one of China's oldest and most mysterious civilizations. During the excavation of a large burial complex, archaeologists stumbled upon an extraordinarily distinctive tomb. Among hundreds of bronze goods, jade pieces, and ritual implements stood one artifact that made everyone freeze: a bronze hand. It sounds strange, but this wasn't a solid cast decorative hand like those seen in artistic bronze statues. It was hollow inside, measuring exactly 5.2 inches in length and 2.7 inches in width, about the size of a real adult man's hand. Its exterior bore no ornate engravings like many contemporary bronzes, but the wrist portion was sculpted with a relief of a beast's face, its eyes sharp, almost alive. Many hypotheses were proposed. Some claimed it was a ritual object, others guessed a domestic tool. Some even thought it might serve as a personal weapon. But all speculation dimmed when experts identified the tomb's occupant as a famed general from the Shang dynasty, Ah Chang, who served under King Wuding, the 22nd Shang ruler. Through skeletal analysis and historical records, researchers discovered that A Chang lost his right arm in a fierce battle. And the bronze hand? Far from random, it was a replacement limb crafted by his loyal soldiers and placed into his tomb. A symbol as poignant as it is powerful. This artifact not only replaced a missing limb, but also embodied an unyielding oath that even in bodily sacrifice, the general's spirit would remain whole, that in death he would still stand as a complete warrior. It is a profoundly humane act that reflects ancient Eastern notions of honor, loyalty, and immortality. Consider this: over 3,000 years ago, with no modern technology or CNC machines, people created an object of such spiritual, artistic, and historical weight. And most touching of all, it wasn't made to flaunt power, but to heal a wound, to preserve the image of a beloved leader. This bronze hand, no gemstones, no gilding, yet carrying a world of meaning. The excavation not only shed new light on the glorious history of the Shang dynasty, but also offered a fresh perspective on ancient burial practices. The ancients did not abandon imperfect bodies. They ritualized, reconstructed, and restored them to wholeness in death, as if that were the only way for the soul to pass with honor. Beside that hand, hundreds of jade relics, daggers, and reliefs lay silent. Yet the viewer's gaze is drawn inexorably to one focal point: the beast's eyes sculpted on the wrist. It seems to guard the general's spirit, as though whispering to later generations, he lost something, but he never lost his integrity. The story of Ah Chang and his bronze hand is more than an archaeological tale. It is a slice of history, a frame of human emotion, and proof that archaeology is not merely unearthing relics, but a journey into memory, humanity, and untold stories. The Secret Letter of Empress Dowager Cixi, the woman behind the legend and the shadows of the Qing dynasty. Throughout China's long and tumultuous history, filled with thousands of years of splendor and upheaval, one name continues to intrigue and haunt generations: Empress Dowager Cixi. She was not only the most powerful woman of the Qing dynasty, but also a symbol of an era marked by decline, power struggles, and the darkness of China's feudal past. Born in 1833, her given name was Yehanara Yulan, from the noble Yehanara clan, an aristocratic branch of the Manchu people. At the age of 17, she was selected to enter the Qing imperial harem, a beginning that would mark a fierce and relentless struggle, with the ultimate goal of reaching the pinnacle of power in the Celestial Empire. At the time, no one could have predicted that this delicate young girl, gentle as a willow branch, would go on to control an entire empire for nearly half a century. Starting as a low-ranking concubine, Cixi gradually gained the favor of Emperor Xianfeng. Step by step, she rose through the ranks, from noble lady to concubine Yi, then consort Yi, and eventually to noble consort Yi. Her elevated status was due not only to her beauty, but also because she gave birth to Prince Zaichun, who would later ascend the throne as the Tongzhi Emperor. Her fate truly changed in 1861 when Emperor Xianfeng died. At the time, Crown Prince Zaichun was just a 5-year-old child. According to the emperor's will, power was to be temporarily handed over to 8 high-ranking regents, collectively known as the 8 Regents of the Will. But Cixi refused to stay hidden behind a curtain and wait for fate to unfold. She understood that if the 8 regents were left in control, she and her son would become mere puppets. So, alongside Empress Dowager Xian, a woman who appeared gentle but was equally calculating, Cixi began planning to overthrow the regents. With the help of Prince Gong and loyal allies within the court, she launched a historic coup. The outcome? The 8 regents were gradually dismissed, exiled, or even executed. From that moment on, Cixi officially ruled from behind the curtain, taking direct control of the imperial court, despite the emperor still being on the throne. And so it continued. She held power for 48 years, not only during the reign of Emperor Tongzhi, but also through the reigns of Emperor Guangxu and Emperor Xuantong. One woman, controlling the fate of an entire nation. However, the secrets surrounding Empress Dowager Cixi have never ceased to stir controversy. During a restoration project at the Forbidden City, archaeologists made a surprising discovery: a secret letter left behind by Cixi. Its contents shocked the entire excavation team, not only for its cunning political tone, but also for the numerous spelling errors. Although historical records claim that Cixi was well-versed in the 5 classics, fluent in Manchu, and had read all 24 official dynastic histories, the letter contained only 237 characters, and yet there were 12 spelling mistakes. Even more startling was a handwritten copy of the Heart Sutra attributed to her, written in sloppy, careless script, lacking the reverence and refinement one would expect. This raised a profound question. Was Cixi's image as a highly educated and brilliant woman merely a carefully crafted facade? A calculated move to maintain her intimidating reputation among the imperial court? Did she manipulate the historical record to hide her vulnerabilities and build an image so perfect it inspired fear? Such was Empress Dowager Cixi, a woman full of contradictions, ruthless yet intelligent, ambitious yet insecure. She introduced reforms, yet also crushed modernization efforts. She climbed to power through favor and her own son, yet ultimately led 2 emperors, Tongzhi and Guangxu, to tragic ends. Today, the Qing dynasty has long since fallen, and Cixi herself has turned to dust. Yet the controversies, secrets, and power plays she left behind continue to provoke endless debate. Was she a villain or a political genius? A tyrant or a victim of a chaotic era? Leave your thoughts in the comments below and join the conversation. Mummy once awoke inside the coffin. In 1999, when some villagers in Qiqihar, Heilongjiang Province, China, were digging a road, they unexpectedly found a blue brick. At first, the villagers paid little attention and continued their road construction, but as they dug deeper, they uncovered more bricks like it. Eventually, at a certain depth, an entire wall made of blue bricks was revealed. There was no doubt, it was definitely an ancient tomb. By then, it was already dark, and the streetlights were not yet fully lit, so the villagers decided to put down their tools, go home, and return the next day. However, news about the ancient tomb in Qiqihar quickly spread. That very night, two young men from the village, driven by greed to steal artifacts, sneaked into the tomb. They set up lights and used a shovel to pry open the coffin lid. As soon as the lid was opened, the sight inside was something those two young men would never forget for the rest of their lives. A corpse lying in an extremely tragic posture, mouth wide open, limbs struggling, clothes disheveled, as if the person had died in great torment. Terrified, the two men ran out of the tomb and immediately reported what they had seen to local authorities. At dawn the next day, the local cultural relics team arrived and sealed off the site. Even the archaeological team assigned to investigate the case was deeply disturbed by what they found inside the tomb. A quick examination showed that the tomb contained only the body, the coffin, and 26 coins from the Qing dynasty, no valuable artifacts. However, the strange thing was that the body, buried for over 200 years, was exceptionally well preserved. The skin, muscles, and joints were all intact. The body was that of a woman, her eyes staring upward, mouth wide open. Based on her skeletal structure, experts estimated she was about 25 years old. She had 3 ear piercings. According to Qing dynasty customs, commoners typically had only 1 or 2 ear piercings. This suggests that the woman was likely a Manchu noblewoman or a concubine of a Qing official. Particularly notable was the discovery, when the body was taken to the lab, of a black lotus-shaped object under her legs. Tests confirmed it was a complete placenta, indicating that the woman was pregnant at the time of her death. She did not die from an infectious disease or dystrophy, but from an ordinary illness. When her condition worsened, she fell into a coma, but doctors mistakenly declared her dead. Her family quickly held funeral rites and arranged for burial. Shortly afterward, the poor woman woke up inside the coffin. She screamed, struggled, and desperately kicked the coffin in a frantic attempt to call for help until she exhausted herself. This moment of being buried alive deeply haunted the experts as they uncovered the truth. The reason the body remained so well preserved for 300 years turned out to be this. The woman had been buried alive in the coffin, consuming all the oxygen inside and creating an ideal vacuum-like environment that preserved the corpse. In times when science and medicine were underdeveloped, people in many countries, including China and Vietnam, had customs of keeping the deceased at home for 3, 5, or 7 days before burial, to avoid tragic cases like this. Even today, some of these countries still follow this custom. Scary, isn't it? The 2,000-year-old tomb of the greatest emperor of China. On Juzong Mountain, about 37 miles from Xi'an City in Shanxi Province, China, lies the largest tomb from the Tang Dynasty and the final resting place of Li Shimin, widely regarded as the greatest emperor in Chinese history. Li Shimin was the second son of Emperor Gaozu of Tang, the founding emperor of the Tang Dynasty. In 626 AD, Li Shimin orchestrated the Xuanwu Gate incident, assassinating his eldest brother Li Jiancheng and younger brother Li Yuanji to seize the throne, forcing his father to abdicate in his favor. After ascending the throne as Emperor Taizong of Tang, Li Shimin pursued policies aimed at reducing social and national conflicts to ensure peace within the country. Unlike other princes, Li Shimin stood out for his administrative skills. Upon taking power, he personally appointed officials, placing trust in people he had once defeated or those who were non-Han, promoting them to key positions and granting them career advancement. Li Shimin also encouraged officials to voice their personal opinions, even if those views differed from his own. As the ruler who led the Tang Dynasty into its golden age, modern Chinese historians regard Li Shimin as the greatest emperor in Chinese history. He passed away at the age of 51 and was buried at Zhao Mausoleum, located on Juzong Mountain. He was the first Tang emperor to start the trend of building tombs on high mountains. The choice to build his mausoleum on a mountain was different from previous Chinese dynasties. This practice is believed to have originated when Empress Zheng Sun, Li Shimin's only empress, died in 636 AD. The empress wished for a simple and modest burial. Her tomb was to be placed on the mountain without a tall structure, Li Shimin once spoke about his and the empress's tombs. "I am the son of heaven ruling over a vast land. Why bury me with gold and jewels?" The tomb on Juzong Mountain contains no gold, no jade, no horses or slaves. All the items are made of earth and wood, so thieves will stay away, avoiding trouble later. However, building the tombs on the mountain was not just about simplicity or economy, it was a way to demonstrate the emperor's power and stature. Construction of Zhao Mausoleum began in 636 AD to bury Empress Zhongsun, and the tomb complex continued expanding until Li Shimin's death in 649 AD when it was completed. Over 13 years, the Tang dynasty invested enormous wealth and manpower into the mausoleum. The entire tomb complex spans 37 miles and includes 167 noble and royal tombs from the Tang dynasty. The highest point on the mountain marks Emperor Taizong's final resting place. The tombs of his bodyguards flank the emperor's tomb on both sides, set lower than his. Each tomb features stone steles engraved with inscriptions, where officials express their honor in being buried alongside the emperor. Juzong Mountain has steep slopes and stands at 3,900 feet above sea level. The view from the mountain is magnificent. Historical records indicate that the palace within Zhao Mausoleum was carved deep inside the mountain. The tomb corridor stretches 755 feet, guarded by 5 stone gates. The burial chambers are luxurious, located on the east and west wings, housing stone boxes containing sacrificial objects. All this was mentioned by Wen Tao, a Chinese lord during the 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms period. Wen is said to have entered the heavily fortified Tang emperor's tomb and marveled at the magnificent palace carved inside the mountain, no less splendid than the outside world. The coffin was placed in the main chamber on a stone platform. The tomb contains many ancient books and handwritten documents from earlier eras. It also holds a large amount of gold and silver, though archaeologists have not revealed details. Built 1,300 years ago, Zhao Mausoleum no longer stands as a grand monument, but a large number of valuable artifacts still remain today. Among the most famous are 6 large stone sculptures of prized war horses, known as the Zhao Mausoleum's 6 steeds. These 6 horses accompanied Emperor Taizong through many battles, saving his life numerous times. After his death, he wished them to protect him in the afterlife. Li Shimin even wrote poems describing these noble horses, which were carved onto the stones. The statues are placed on the east and west sides at the mausoleum's north gate. Each stone horse sculpture measures about 8 feet long and 10 feet wide. 2 of the 6 stone steeds were taken to the United States and are now kept at the University of Pennsylvania Museum. The other 4 remain at the Shanxi Provincial Museum in China. Sadly, to this day, Chinese historians and archaeologists have not been permitted to explore the main palace where Emperor Taizong's coffin rests, so Zhao Mausoleum remains a mystery. But even with the information available, we can see how magnificent the tomb of this great emperor is. Hopefully, one day soon, historians and archaeologists will get closer access so that we can finally witness the secrets inside the grand coffin of what is considered China's greatest emperor. The 2,000-year-old pressure cooker, revealing advanced technology in a Western Han royal tomb. It's hard to believe that a pressure cooker, a tool we think of as strictly modern, actually existed over 2,000 years ago. Yet in March 1968, a Chinese military unit working on a construction project on a mountain in Mancheng County, Baoding City, Hebei Province, accidentally shook the world of archaeology when they uncovered a large ancient tomb buried beneath layers of soil and rock. This was no ordinary tomb. It was the resting place of Lu Sheng, Prince Jing of Zhongshan, a royal figure who played a significant role in the history of the Western Han dynasty in China. So, who was Lu Sheng to be buried so lavishly? According to historical records, he was the 9th son of Emperor Jing of Han and the older brother of Emperor Wu of Han, one of the most powerful and famous emperors in Chinese history. Moreover, Lu Sheng was the ancestor of Liu Bei, the founding emperor of Shu Han during the Three Kingdoms period. From the ancient text Han Shu, Biography of the 13 Princes, we learn that Lu Sheng had over 120 children, a staggering number that hints at his wealth and power during his lifetime. The tomb unearthed was not only vast in scale, but also overwhelmed archaeologists with over 10,000 burial items, including gold, silver, jade, lanterns, jewelry, And most intriguingly, a bronze pot with a highly unusual design. The pot's mechanism and structure closely resemble those of a modern pressure cooker, the very type of device we use every day for stewing and braising. The bronze pot stands 7.1 inches tall with a body diameter of 7.7 inches. It has an elliptical shape with 2 rectangular handles on its sides. The base of the pot is supported by 4 mythical beasts squatting in a lifting posture, while the lid is adorned with 4 other raised mythical beasts. What makes this pot truly remarkable is that archaeological experts, upon analysis, found that it could withstand pressure and maintain an airtight seal, very much like today's pressure cookers. This strange similarity raises the question, did our ancestors possess advanced knowledge of thermodynamics and metalworking technology beyond what we had imagined? According to the ancient Eastern Han classic Shuowen Jiezi by Xu Shen, a foundational work on etymology, this type of bronze pot was used for cooking special dishes reserved for royalty. During the Western Han dynasty, emperors employed dozens of chefs dedicated to preparing lavish banquets using a variety of cooking tools. Bronze pots like this one played a vital role in slow cooking meat or preparing nutritious meals. Therefore, the presence of this bronze pot in the tomb not only highlights the luxurious lifestyle of Prince Jing of Zhongshan during his lifetime, but also reflects deeply held spiritual beliefs of the era. People believed in an underworld, thinking that after death, the soul continued to live in another realm. As such, many personal and favorite belongings, jewelry, daily items, and even kitchen tools were buried with the deceased to serve them in the afterlife. The discovery of this ancient pressure cooker has sparked new reflections on the technological expertise of our ancestors and deepened our understanding of the culture, beliefs, and courtly life of the Western Han period. It reminds us that history is not only the stories told, but also hidden within every piece of bronze and every artifact buried for millennia. The two-tailed tiger and the 3,000-year-old weapons cache in a Shang dynasty tomb. Did you know that more than 3,000 years ago in China, there was a tomb filled with such unique treasures that it literally stunned archaeologists? The story began in the late 1980s when a group of farmers were mining sand in Dayangzhou, Jiangxi province, and accidentally discovered some bronze ceramics buried in the ground. Interestingly, this location was right near the Niutucheng archaeological site, an area actively being excavated by archaeologists, so news of these rare bronze artifacts quickly spread and caused a sensation throughout the region. Immediately, local authorities confiscated the bronze items found by the farmers, and archaeological experts quickly arrived to conduct a thorough investigation. The results were incredible. They had uncovered an ancient tomb dating back to the Shang dynasty, a glorious era from 3 millennia ago. What's more, archaeologists recovered over 1,500 relics from the tomb, including 486 bronze items and 754 jade artifacts, all crafted with exquisite detail. Among these treasures was a particularly rare bronze piece known as the two-tailed bronze tiger. This bronze tiger is 21 inches long and weighs about 13.7 pounds, radiating majesty and power through every intricate detail. Its mouth is wide open as if ready to tear apart its enemy, and its two tails are whipping vigorously, creating an unforgettable image. Even more intriguing, a small bird is perched on the tiger's back, a strange combination that has led researchers to ask many questions. Is it a symbol of harmony, or does it conceal an ancient story we have yet to uncover? Covering the tiger's body are complex, yet harmonious patterns typical of Shang dynasty art, demonstrating that the craftsman was not only highly skilled, but also possessed a refined sense of aesthetics. From these burial artifacts, it's clear that the tomb's owner was a powerful noble. No one else could have possessed such a valuable collection of bronze and jade. However, the body inside the coffin had completely decomposed, making it extremely difficult to determine the occupant's identity. To deepen the mystery, 24 teeth found in the tomb did not belong to the same person. The tomb contained more than just jewelry and ritual vessels. It also held 260 weapons of various kinds, including swords, arrows, bows, and special ceremonial weapons. Among them was a short sword with a design very similar to swords from the Eastern Zhou period, opening up many theories about cultural and technical connections between different historical eras. These weapons were not only used for combat, but also played important roles in religious rituals, reflecting the beliefs and spirituality of the ancient people. Thank Thanks to these artifacts, archaeologists have gained valuable insights to better understand the life, warfare, and religious practices of southern China during the Shang dynasty. The jade coffin in Liu Bang's tomb holds a 2,100-year-old untold treasure. Did you know that more than 2,100 years ago, in Jiangdu, Jiangsu Province, China, there was a royal tomb filled with gold, silver, and ancient treasures that amazed archaeologists worldwide? This is the tomb of Liu Fei, the eldest son of Han Gaozu Liu Bang, the emperor famously known as one of the most notorious rogues in Chinese history. Now, let's explore the secrets behind this tomb, especially the unique jade coffin, and see what stories it holds. First, we need to know that Liu Fei was not only the eldest son of Han Gaozu, but also the second king of the state of Qi, a vassal kingdom under the Han dynasty. When Liu Bang had been on the throne for just 6 years, there was much upheaval in the court. Qi King Han Xin was demoted to King of Chu, Liu Fei ascended as King of Qi and was granted 70 large cities. However, this power stirred conflicts. Empress Dowager Liu, the powerful figure behind the court, even tried to poison Liu Fei, forcing him to give up some land to avoid trouble. Liu Fei's life ended at the young age of 32 after 26 years as King of Qi, a premature end for such a controversial ruler. Yet remarkably, despite being robbed multiple times, Liu Fei's tomb still preserved thousands of priceless artifacts, much to the delight of archaeologists. The tomb spans nearly 0.3 miles and includes 3 large burial mounds, 11 attendant tombs, 2 pits for chariots and horses, and 2 weapon pits. At the center lies a large earthen mound, 492 feet long, the burial site of the King of Qi. 2 long tunnels lead directly to the burial chamber, which is filled with sacrificial offerings and items believed to serve the afterlife. A particularly fascinating fact is that the tomb reflects Liu Fei's personality, his love for luxury and muscular power. Inside lies a massive cache of weapons, swords, spears, crossbows, halberds, knives, along with more than 20 intricately crafted chariot and horse models. Additionally, musical instruments such as jade-tipped zithers were found, showcasing the artistic taste of the time. Notably, archaeologists also uncovered a treasure trove of over 100,000 square-holed coins from the Qin Shi Huang era, along with daily utensils, cooking tools, and even some preserved food, painting a vivid picture of palace life in ancient times. Unfortunately, Liu Fei's jade coffin was damaged, and his body was no longer intact, likely due to repeated grave robberies. But the true marvel lay in a subsidiary tomb known as M2, where experts discovered an intact jade coffin, an unprecedented find in Chinese archaeology. This coffin is a priceless treasure, not only because of its precious material, but also due to its cultural and historical value. Moreover, statues of elephants and rhinoceroses were found within the tomb complex, evidence that during that time, China had already begun trading and interacting with foreign cultures. This detail further illuminates history, showing that not only kings but also common people of the era engaged in extensive international exchanges. The story doesn't end there. After Liu Fei's death, his son Liu Xiang inherited the title King of Qi, known as King I of Qi. In the 7th year after his father's death, Liu Xiang launched a military campaign against the Liu clan, who then held power through Empress Dowager Liu Ji. Under military pressure, power shifted back to the Liu family, paving the way for Liu Heng, son of Liu Bang, to become Emperor Wen of Han, marking a significant turning point in Han dynasty history. Liu Fei's tomb is not just an archaeological site, but a vivid story of power, intrigue, culture, and trade in ancient China. Every artifact and every excavation moment tells part of a glorious, complex, and colorful history. What do you think about the mysteries hidden in this jade coffin? Could it be the key to unlocking the brilliant yet bitter past of a lavish but troubled king? Share your thoughts below. 11 most mysterious and creepiest ancient tombs discovered by archaeologists. The Tomb of the Dancing Girls. Floating underground, 20 swaying coffins, and the mysterious forgotten king. Have you ever imagined that deep underground in complete darkness, there exists a strange chamber where 20 coffins quietly float on the water as if guided by some unseen spirit? Sounds like a horror movie, right? But this is 100% true, based on a shocking discovery made in Wuhan, China in 1978. At that time, the Chinese Air Force was building a radar repair factory. While heavy machinery was digging noisily, a large stone slab suddenly appeared, buried deep underground, with no signs of modern concrete or metal. Upon closer inspection, they found it was a solid stone door leading down to a place no one had set foot in for thousands of years. Construction was immediately halted. Archaeologists from the Hubei Provincial Museum were called in. After careful efforts, they managed to open the door, and the whole team fell silent. A dimly lit chamber appeared. The water was nearly knee-deep, and floating in the middle were 20 wooden coffins drifting gently. But what gave everyone chills was not the number, but the fact that these coffins were actually moving, slowly and softly, as if something inside was waking up. Some panicked, others just stared in disbelief. Once calm was restored, they realized the water inside was the reason the coffins floated and swayed. There were no ghosts, just geological forces at work. It's believed this tomb was affected by an earthquake or a massive flood that broke underground water channels, submerging the entire burial site in groundwater for hundreds of years. Soon after, the water was drained to protect the precious artifacts. When the coffins were lifted, an even stranger fact was uncovered. All 20 skeletons belonged to young girls, aged only 13 to 16. These girls were not buried alone. They were interred with gold, jade, musical instruments, chariots, weapons, and a variety of exquisite items. The most remarkable find was a set of 65 bronze bells weighing a staggering 5,660 pounds, considered the largest and most complete bronze bell set ever excavated in China. Truly a national treasure, these bells were not just ornamental, but also symbols of the wealth, power, and mystery surrounding the tomb's occupant. Based on their clothing and the accompanying items, researchers believe these girls were court dancers. They were chosen to accompany and serve their master even after death, continuing to perform songs and dances as they did in life. But one question remains: who had the authority to take 20 young girls down to the tomb like this? While experts were still trying to piece this together, another coffin was uncovered on the east side of the burial site. Inside was the skeleton of a man about 5 feet 4 inches tall, buried in an exquisitely lacquered coffin. According to the inscriptions, he was identified as Zheng Hao Yi, the king of the state of Zheng, a vassal of the Zhou dynasty during the Warring States period. He died in 433 BC. Upon hearing of his death, King Hui of Chu ordered the casting of the massive bronze bell set and buried it in this tomb as a symbol of respect and honor. This tomb, with its precious artifacts and hidden historical stories, is not only an impressive archaeological discovery, but also opens a window to the past, helping us better understand the lives, beliefs, and rituals of ancient people. And that, my friends, is no exaggeration. The Tomb of the Six Wives of a Prince: Deadly Rituals and Whispers from 1,500 years ago. In the heart of modern-day Germany, amid construction sites seemingly filled only with concrete and steel, a 1,000-year-old mystery suddenly emerged. And this time, it was unlike anything archaeologists had ever seen before. Specifically, during the excavation for the foundation of a large chicken farm in Sachsen-Anhalt, near Brückenhochpfäffel, Germany, a surprising discovery shook the archaeological community. An ancient tomb with a strange, eerie, and deeply mysterious structure located at the center of an ancient cemetery. At the very center of this tomb lay 6 women arranged in a circle around a strange cauldron, as if part of a forgotten ritual whispering a tragic story from 1,500 years ago. This tomb is unlike any other ever excavated. Its unique circular structure, the solemn central position within the cemetery, and the luxurious artifacts found inside led archaeologists to believe this is the final resting place of a prince or a powerful lord in ancient society. Yet paradoxically, the body of this nobleman has not yet been found. Meanwhile, the 6 women lying around the cauldron are the most mysterious figures. Who were they? Why were they placed there? And what happened in their final moments? 2 theories have been proposed, both chilling to consider. The first suggests they were loyal wives, chosen to die alongside their noble husband, a brutal ritual found in many ancient cultures. The other, more horrifying possibility is that they were not wives at all, but young women sacrificed to serve a dark and obsessive religious ritual never recorded in history. Whichever theory is true, the truth remains buried with these skeletons, and archaeologists have yet to draw any final conclusions. The cauldron at the center of the tomb adds even more intrigue. It was placed with reverence as a sacred object, yet it was completely empty. No ashes, no bones, no artifacts inside. So what was its true purpose? Was it a symbol of a lost ritual, or a mysterious altar for the spirits of the deceased? No one knows for sure, but clearly it is a crucial piece in this strange story. Not only humans were buried here, 11 animal species were also interred in the tomb, including dogs, horses, and livestock. Evidence shows these animals were not killed in sacrificial rituals, but died beforehand, then were carefully placed in the tomb as part of a ceremony honoring the dead. This detail adds to the sacred and mysterious atmosphere surrounding the site. The burial goods found are truly a treasure trove. Gold, silver, glass, ceramics, all exquisitely crafted, reflecting immense wealth and power. Particularly, the glass shards revealed the tomb's real age, about 1,500 years old, originating from Gallo-Roman workshops along the Rhine River, a region once famous for its glass-making art in the ancient world. Even more surprising, the entire tomb has never been looted, partly thanks to its location in a lowland area where time layered a sediment deposit over 4 feet thick, accidentally creating a shield that protected it perfectly from grave robbers' greedy eyes. Because of this, the main tomb remains intact, a time machine that takes us back into the past. And most notably, other graves in the cemetery are arranged in a circle around this central tomb, as if all were bowing to the deceased, even though he may still be missing from his own land. A symbol of absolute respect, or perhaps fear of a power too great while alive. From a simple chicken farm construction project, archaeologists stepped into an ancient story, where the boundaries between power, death, and ritual blur over time. The tomb in Sachsen-Anhalt is not just an archaeological discovery, it is a reminder. History never truly falls silent, it is only waiting to be heard. The tomb filled with treasures of a French prince. At the end of 2024, archaeologists conducted a significant excavation in the town of Lavaux, located in the Champagne region of France, and uncovered a treasure-filled tomb of a Celtic prince from the Iron Age. This tomb, situated in a suburban trading area, contained many valuable artifacts, mostly originating from Greece and Etruria. What makes this discovery especially remarkable is that the Celtic prince was buried alongside his chariot inside a burial mound approximately 131 feet in diameter. The excavation was carried out by a team of experts from the French National Institute for Preventive Archaeological Research, INRAP, starting in October of the previous year. Scientists have dated the tomb to around the 5th century BC during the Late Iron Age, a period characterized by the use of iron tools. According to research reports, the centerpiece of the tomb is a 150 square feet burial chamber reserved for a member of ancient royalty, the native Celtic prince himself. One of the most notable finds in the tomb was a large bronze cauldron that had been used for holding wine, crafted by Etruscan artisans from what is now Italy. This cauldron is intricately decorated with 4 round handles engraved with the head of the Greek river god Achelous, featuring bull horns and wild ox ears, as well as lioness heads at the corners. Additionally, the archaeological team discovered a Greek ceramic vase decorated with images of Dionysus, the god of wine, and a perforated silver spoon, possibly used for straining wine. This find provides clear evidence of trade connections between the Celts and Mediterranean cultures. During this period, Mediterranean merchants expanded their commercial relationships with the Celts, trading slaves, metals, and valuable goods. Similar artifacts have been found in other tombs in Germany, such as Heuneberg and Hochdorf, indicating strong cultural exchange during the Iron Age. Archaeologists further noted that the excavation of the Celtic prince's tomb is expected to be completed by the end of the month and will undoubtedly continue to shed light on the life and relationships among ancient civilizations. The impenetrable underwater tomb in China. Even Emperor Qin Shi Huang had to throw in the towel. In Chinese history, there is a tomb that remains one of the greatest mysteries to this day, completely inaccessible to anyone. This is the tomb of King Helu, the famous ruler of the state of Wu. Despite many attempts, including those by some of the most powerful figures in history, King Helu's tomb has remained impenetrable. Even Emperor Qin Shi Huang, known as the Great Emperor with boundless ambition, was left disappointed when he couldn't find a way inside. King Helu's tomb was built over 2,500 years ago during the Zhou dynasty when he ruled. He was not only renowned for his military talents, but also for his special interest in martial arts and warfare. When he died, his son Fu Chai constructed a grand tomb for his father at Hukou, Suzhou, China, which required millions of laborers and vast resources to complete. The tomb was said to contain not only precious gold and silver treasures, but also thousands of valuable swords, a vast arsenal of weapons. According to the ancient Chinese text Yue Zhui Shu, Helu's tomb contained as many as 3,000 treasured swords. However, this number remains an estimate, as the tomb has never been excavated. This has made it a powerful magnet for tomb raiders and archaeologists alike throughout history. Records show that the first person who attempted to excavate King Helu's tomb was King Gujian of Yue, the very ruler who caused the downfall of the state of Wu. Yet, despite his efforts, Gujian was unable to pinpoint the tomb's location. Later, during the final years of the Warring States period, Emperor Qin Shi Huang, the legendary first emperor of the Qin dynasty, also tried to seize this opportunity. He dispatched troops to Hukou, but despite thorough preparations, he could not find an entrance to the tomb. With all his power and ambition, Qin Shi Huang had to retreat empty-handed. But the story of this tomb did not end there. After Qin Shi Huang's failure, Shang Yu, the famed hero of the anti-Qin resistance, also attempted to access King Helu's tomb to find its treasures. Like Qin Shi Huang, Shang Yu could not discover a way inside. The mystery deepened during the Ming dynasty when the famous historical figure Tang Bohu nearly exposed the tomb once again. During a drought in Suzhou, the water in the lake surrounding the tomb receded, revealing signs of the tomb's location. Tang Bohu immediately ordered preparations for excavation, but local officials stopped the effort at the last minute. In 1955, a team of archaeologists drained the lake using machinery and uncovered inscriptions left by Tang Bohu and other historical figures. However, concerned about preserving the relics, they decided not to proceed with the excavation. Then, in 1978, archaeologists made another attempt to approach King Helu's tomb. This time, they discovered a triangular-shaped cave entrance, but when they tried to break through, they found 3 massive stone slabs blocking the way. Remarkably, these stones were positioned right above Hukou Tower, an important symbol of Suzhou. After careful consideration, experts chose not to continue, as removing the stones could damage Hukou Tower. To this day, King Helu's tomb remains intact and has never been fully excavated. It is one of the greatest mysteries in Chinese archaeological history. Despite numerous attempts, no one has been able to find a way into this legendary tomb. As a result, King Helu's tomb remains a source of great regret for archaeologists and stands as a testament to the power and mystery of ancient tombs in China's history. The tomb of Princess Yongtai, the most beautiful princess of the Tang dynasty and her untold tragic story. When we think of China's Tang dynasty history, we often picture emperors and empresses wielding magnificent power and glory. But few realize that behind this splendor lie lives full of tears and mysteries yet to be unraveled. One such story that has made archaeologists and historians pause and reflect is the tomb of Princess Yongtai, the most beautiful princess of the Tang dynasty, whose end was nothing short of tragic. The story begins in the winter of 1958 in Liangshan County, Shanxi Province, when a group of farmers accidentally discovered Qianling Tomb, the burial site of Emperor Gaozong of Tang, Li Ji, and Empress Wu Zetian. This is one of China's 3 mysterious tombs still off limits for excavation. Yet, this accidental find led archaeologists to uncover a series of other tombs belonging to members of the Tang royal family. Among these, the most notable was the tomb of Princess Yongtai, the 7th daughter of Emperor Zhongzong of Tang, Li Xian, and Empress Wei, and also the granddaughter of Wu Zetian. What stunned archaeologists was not only the breathtaking beauty of the artifacts found, but also the sudden appearance of a mysterious figure behind the stone door of the tomb. At first, everyone was bewildered, thinking it was some strange image. But upon closer inspection, they realized it was the skeletal remains of a man, a tomb robber. The story became even more thrilling when investigations revealed that this man was part of a group of grave robbers who had a conflict, leading to one member being killed and left right at the tomb's entrance. Deeper inside, the tomb structure astonished everyone. The rooms were meticulously built with multiple layers of solid protection designed to preserve the precious burial goods. Remarkably, the brick walls of the tomb remained intact after thousands of years, enhancing its archaeological value. Finally, at the deepest point in the tomb, they found the stone coffin containing Princess Yongtai's remains. However, the stone slab covering the coffin had been shifted, and traces of mud indicated that the tomb had been violated by robbers, clear evidence of an event that occurred centuries ago. As for Princess Yongtai's life, it was tragically short. Born into royalty and raised with the love of Empress Wu Zetian, she was considered one of the most beautiful women of the Tang era. But her happiness was brief. After marrying Prince Wei Di Yan, their peaceful life was shattered by palace intrigue and power struggles. The cause of their downfall was a story of political scheming. The princess and her husband dared to discuss Zhang Yi, a favored official of Wu Zetian. When this news reached the powerful empress, the inevitable sentence was death for both. Princess Yongtai died at just 17 years old, her career and happiness still unfinished. Imagine, a beautiful, intelligent princess meeting such a tragic fate. Could her story be the cruelest among the many tales of imperial dynasties? And the tomb, full of mysteries with the lingering presence of the robbers' remains left behind, stands as a cold reminder of a turbulent and scheming era within the palace walls. As for me, whatever the answer may be, this story not only helps us better understand history, but also teaches us about the shadows behind the shining glory of the imperial court, the mysteries of dynasties that belong solely to the ancient past. The Noble Tomb, beneath a burial well in Egypt. If you think the mysteries of ancient Egypt have mostly been uncovered, this story will make you think twice. In a dry, dusty land called El Gorefa, an area that has witnessed many groundbreaking excavations, archaeologists have just revealed an incredible discovery: an ancient tomb of an Egyptian noble family, buried deep underground beneath a mysterious burial well. What makes this find timelessly valuable is not just its age or ancient beauty, but a shocking fact: the tomb remains intact, untouched for over 2,500 years. You heard that right, a perfectly preserved Egyptian tomb, never looted or destroyed by time or humans. It's truly a living treasure for archaeology. According to Mostafa Waziri, Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, the well, which is nearly 33 feet deep, is not just an entrance, but also the key to a large burial chamber carved into solid rock. When archaeologists began excavating, they were amazed to find the entrance sealed with ancient mortar, the very kind used by the ancient Egyptians over 2 millennia ago. Behind that mortar lay a sacred, silent, and solemn space. One of the first coffins identified belonged to Badi Aset, who held the title of Royal Treasury Overseer, a position in charge of the entire kingdom's wealth and financial power. In other words, he was one of the most powerful men in ancient Egypt, second only to the pharaoh. But that's not all. Beside him were 4 other large coffins, believed to be those of family members. None had been opened yet, but early assessments suggest they may contain perfectly preserved mummies since the seals remain unbroken. However, what truly took the world's breath away was not just the coffins, but the burial goods found inside the chamber. There were 2 exquisite limestone statues, one depicting the sacred Apis bull, a symbol of strength and prosperity, and the other a goddess whose identity is uncertain, possibly Isis or Hathor, both symbols associated with protection and motherhood. Additionally, archaeologists uncovered canopic jars used to store the mummy's internal organs, engraved with the images of the 4 sons of Horus. Remarkably, these jars are considered the most beautiful ever found in Egypt. But it doesn't stop there. Inside the tomb were nearly 1,000 small Ushabti figurines, tin-glazed ceramic servant statues believed in ancient Egyptian faith to serve their owner in the afterlife. Each statue is a meticulously crafted work of art, reflecting the family's wealth and high status. Moreover, many finely crafted amulets and ancient ceramic items were found, ranging from household utensils to kitchenware, each holding priceless artistic and historical value. El Gorefa, a land that seemed to have told all its stories, speaks again, as if to remind us that much of the past remains undiscovered. According to Egypt's Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, this area still holds dozens of unexcavated tombs, possibly including more noble burials and even royal tombs. even the tomb and the terrifying curse tablet. Have you ever imagined that beneath the ground of an old hospital in the heart of France lies a mysterious cemetery dating back to Roman times? And within that silent earth, there are curse tablets, thin lead charms inscribed in a language that has vanished from the world? What I'm referring to is one of the most unusual archaeological discoveries of this year, where thousands of years of history suddenly came alive beneath a seemingly unrelated structure. The 18th century hospital in Orléans, about 75 miles southwest of Paris. During the hospital's restoration, archaeologists unexpectedly uncovered more than 60 graves along an ancient wall. The coffins, made of painted wood, still retained faint traces of color despite the passage of time, with no signs of cremation. This led experts to believe it was not an ordinary cemetery. According to the Orleans Archaeological Service, the group buried here likely belonged to a specific social class or shared a common occupation. But that wasn't the strangest part. Inside 21 of these graves, archaeologists found something completely unexpected. 21 curse tablets, also known as deficciones. These are thin sheets of lead, about the size of a palm, inscribed with text, rolled up, pierced with nails, and buried with the dead. However, they were not mere burial objects. In the ancient Roman world, these tablets were used to communicate with the gods, asking the divine to punish enemies or grant favors to the owner. Each tablet carried a curse, a plea, or a grievance sent to the afterlife. One grave in particular drew special attention. A man buried with a curse tablet placed between his legs, alongside a broken jar and some coins, a ritual likely meant to escort the soul to the other world. After discovery, the tablet was sent to the restoration lab where experts used reflectance transformation imaging, RTI, a modern technology that creates sharp images from eroded surfaces. And then, a miracle happened. On that tablet, researchers uncovered an inscription in Gaulish, a branch of the Celtic language completely extinct today. In fact, after the Roman Empire conquered this land, Gaulish was still spoken by locals in everyday life, but rarely written down. That makes each surviving line of text a linguistic treasure for modern scholars. Imagine a person living 2,000 years ago in despair, writing their last words in a native language slowly disappearing, inscribing them on a fragile lead sheet, then burying it with their death, a message to the gods, or perhaps a warning to future generations. This discovery not only provides crucial clues about the Gaulish language, but also offers a new perspective on the spiritual life and beliefs of local people under Roman rule. They were not simply assimilated, they quietly preserved their identity and language through silent rituals like this. The excavation in Orléans is expected to conclude by the end of this month. All artifacts, from curse tablets and coins to pottery shards and coffin dust, will undergo detailed laboratory analysis. Scientists hope this will help decode more mysteries surrounding the cursed individuals and the true story hidden beneath the quiet earth. A cemetery buried for millennia, curses written in a vanished language, secrets buried deep underground, now slowly being revealed. Have we truly understood the past? Or have we only scratched the surface of a deeper iceberg? That remains a puzzling question, still unanswered, but hopefully, future research will bring breakthroughs to deepen our knowledge of that distant history. The Tomb of King Tutankhamun, the mystery and curse of Egypt's young immortal king. Have you ever heard the story of a young king who ascended the throne at only 9 years old, leaving behind a priceless treasure and a curse that shocked the world? That king is Tutankhamun, the greatest pharaoh of ancient Egypt, whose name and tomb have become legendary, not just because of the wealth found within, but also due to the mysteries surrounding them. In 1922, archaeologist Howard Carter, after 6 years of tireless searching, discovered King Tutankhamun's tomb in the Valley of the Kings, near today's city of Luxor, Egypt. Can you imagine Carter's feelings when the tomb's door was finally opened and the treasure inside was revealed? It goes without saying how overjoyed he was. This was one of the greatest and most extraordinary archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. But glory was not the only thing he faced. There was also the price of mysterious rumors of a curse. Immediately after the tomb was opened, a snake killed Carter's beloved pet canary, a sign that the locals and Egyptian staff believed to be the young king's spirit warning people not to disturb his resting place. Rumors of the mummy's curse quickly spread as those involved in the excavation experienced suspicious incidents. Lord Carnarvon, the sponsor of the excavation, died of pneumonia just months after entering the tomb, fueling chilling stories. The New York Times reported that his death was due to an infected insect bite, but those around him believed it was the consequence of an ancient curse. Writer and spiritualist Arthur Conan Doyle even claimed that an evil spirit might have caused Lord Carnarvon's illness. However, modern medical experts suggest the real cause could have been a mold called Aspergillus, which lingered in the tomb's air for centuries and infected people with weak immune systems. The story sounds dramatic, but looking back, the truth might not be so supernatural. Many others who died after the excavation died from unrelated accidents, house fires, car crashes, even suicides, with no connection to the tomb. Some people who never even stepped inside the tomb were considered victims of the curse simply because they were relatives of the excavation team. Regardless, the true marvel remains the intact tomb of King Tutankhamun. When archaeologists opened the young king's coffin, covered in pure gold, they discovered over 5,000 artifacts made of gold, precious stones, jewelry, statues of gods, and weapons from that era. The golden mask, adorned with gemstones, still retains the solemnity and magnificent beauty of the young king, leaving everyone in awe. Tutankhamun ascended the throne at the age of 9, and although his reign lasted only about 10 years, it marked a glorious golden age for ancient Egypt. His mysterious death at just 19 puzzled many for thousands of years. It wasn't until 2013 that scientists, using 3D imaging technology, discovered that the young king died after being run over by a chariot wheel, causing his sudden death. This revelation opened a new chapter in Egypt's ancient history. Today, the Valley of the Kings is not only a famous tourist destination, but also a UNESCO World Heritage Site protected under strict preservation. King Tutankhamun's tomb remains an invaluable historical and archaeological treasure, reminding us of a glorious era and mysteries yet to be fully uncovered. So, what do you think about the curse and the secrets surrounding this young king? Are these eerie tales just embellished stories, or are there still undiscovered mysteries? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. The 1,900-year-old tomb and the mysterious bronze lion head discs. Hidden deep beneath the dry, rocky soil of central Israel, archaeologists have just unveiled a unique discovery that has sparked waves of curiosity in the international research community. 4 intricately crafted bronze discs engraved with fierce lion heads, found in an ancient tomb dating back approximately 1,900 years. The Israel Antiquities Authority, IAA, confirmed that these artifacts were uncovered at the Khirbet Ibreka archaeological site, once a hub of activity for several ancient communities. The site's name derives from a nearby Ottoman-era Islamic tomb, once a symbol of local power. What surprised archaeologists was not only the rarity of these bronze discs, but also the way they were arranged and their previously unclear function. According to Dr. Eli Haddad, the excavation leader, these bronze discs may have once served as components attached to handles used to lift or lower wooden coffins into the burial pit. Each disc features a vividly embossed lion's head, full of power, a timeless symbol carrying multiple layers of meaning, from strength and authority to protection against evil. The discs have small holes above the main, indicating they were designed to attach to a metal handle system, suggesting they were part of a ceremonial burial mechanism. Even more intriguing is that all 4 discs and the associated handles were neatly stacked at the southern, narrowest end of the tomb. This was no accident or natural shift. It shows deliberate ritual intent, a symbolic act possibly marking the conclusion of a ceremony or a way to preserve the lion's symbolic power in the most sacred part of the burial chamber. Around the excavation area, archaeologists also found 12 glass bottles, likely once containing perfumes or substances used in funeral rites, a large iron nail still bearing traces of wood, possibly the remains of a coffin that had decayed, and several human bone fragments. In contrast, neighboring tombs contained no artifacts, even though some remained intact and undisturbed. This difference further highlights the unique value and special ritual significance of the tomb containing the bronze discs. Additionally, cultural layer evidence indicates this site was inhabited through multiple periods. Roman-era ruins, 63 BCE to 323 CE, include 8 ancient tombs dating from the 1st or 2nd century CE, aligning with the discs' estimated age. Meanwhile, Byzantine-era remains, 324 to 638 CE, reveal agricultural activity, including wine and oil presses, showing the area was a vibrant community center spanning many centuries. Symbolically, the lion image in ancient cultures is not unfamiliar. The oldest known lion head disc dates back to the 5th century BCE, found in Olynthus, Greece. In Israeli archaeology, about 40 similar specimens have been discovered, but most served different functions, commonly as door knockers, where the lion head held a metal ring in its mouth. The 4 discs at Khirbat Ibreka stand apart, as their handles were placed separately and show no sign of lions holding rings, a detail that deepens archaeologists' puzzlement about their true use. A similar discovery occurred at the Roman cemetery in Tel Dor, where bronze lion head discs were also found with handles, placed at the 4 corners of the tomb, seemingly in their original positions after the coffin was lowered. The biggest difference at Khirbat Ibreka is that the discs were not scattered but intentionally gathered and arranged, lending more weight to the theory of ritual or symbolic significance. While lion heads have appeared in many cultures, symbolizing protection, authority, or the strength of the departed spirit, the specific cultural identity of the individual buried here remains unclear. Dr. Haddad suggests this burial style might relate to pagan customs, possibly from local Roman inhabitants or a Hellenistic-influenced group, but there is not yet enough evidence to draw firm conclusions. For archaeologists and symbol researchers, this discovery is not simply about finding 4 rare artifacts, but offers an important clue that opens the door to deeper understanding of burial rites, symbolic systems, and cultural interactions in a land that once stood at the crossroads of ancient empires. These lion head bronze discs, resting peacefully for 19 centuries, are now roaring within the archaeological world, demanding we listen to the story they strive to tell from the far reaches of time. The Royal Tomb of Xi'an and the Curse. Open and die. A 1,400-year-old secret no one dared touch. Xi'an, a name familiar to anyone who loves Chinese history. A land that served as the capital for many dynasties, witnessing countless upheavals throughout thousands of years. But few realize that right beneath the modern concrete and steel of this bustling city lies an underground world of ancient secrets. Among them, one discovery has sent chills through the archaeological community. As skyscrapers rose in downtown Xi'an, deep excavation for foundations unexpectedly revealed a secret buried for more than 1,400 years. Specifically, in 1957, at an ordinary construction site like many others, workers stumbled upon an unusual foundation beneath the ground. Carefully arranged stones and a strange structure began to emerge. Archaeologists were immediately called to the scene. Through careful excavation, they identified the site as a royal tomb from the northern Zhou Sui dynasty era, dating back to the 6th century. The tomb belonged to a young girl named Li Tingshuan, the granddaughter of Empress Yang Lihua. She died at just 9 years old, but her burial rites were unimaginably extravagant, even more magnificent than the funeral of Emperor Wen of Sui at that time in China. Li Tingshuan's stone coffin was no ordinary coffin. It was designed to resemble palace architecture, with an intricately carved vaulted roof showcasing the masterful craftsmanship of the era's artisans. Archaeologists stated, "We have never seen a coffin with such artistic and historical value." Inside the coffin lay a treasure trove, countless pieces of jewelry and precious stones, including a stunning necklace made of gemstones and pearls, so exquisite it is now displayed in the National Museum of China. Not only that, another special treasure was found, an oval-shaped glass bottle, crafted with such advanced techniques that even modern experts are amazed. Clearly, glass-blowing skills over 1,000 years ago had reached heights few could have imagined. But what sent a chill down everyone's spine was the inscription carved on the coffin lid. "Open and die." Could this really be a curse? For over 14 centuries, no grave robber dared approach this site. Could those 4 words have warded off all intruders? Some scholars believe it was merely a psychological deterrent to protect the tomb. Others hold a more heartfelt theory. Empress Yang Lihua, who loved her granddaughter more than anyone, had those words inscribed to guard Li Tingshuan even in the afterlife. A final plea from a broken-hearted grandmother became a curse forever tied to history. We may continue debating the truth behind that mysterious inscription, but one thing is undeniable: the past never stops speaking. The fragments of history, memories buried beneath the earth, will one day rise to remind us that no matter how modern we become, humans remain irresistibly drawn to the secrets of time. What do you think of the phrase, "open and die"? Is it a curse or eternal love? Whatever your answer, I believe the story of this ancient tomb in Xi'an amazes the world not only with its mystery and timeless grandeur, but also reminds us that beneath seemingly still earth lie wonders beyond imagination. The elixir, buried deep in an ancient tomb in Nanjing, China, reveals the bitter secret of its owner's life. Nanjing, a land with 1,000 years of civilization, the capital of 6 major dynasties in Chinese history, is not only the birthplace of many mysterious stories, but also a place that holds archaeological secrets that astonish people. What if, right beneath the ground by the mighty Yangtze River, there lies a grand ancient tomb belonging to a noble of the Eastern Jin dynasty, a place that hides not only treasure, but also a heartbreaking tragedy? The story begins in 1990, when archaeologists excavating in Nanjing discovered the tomb of Wang Bin, a high-ranking official during the Eastern Jin dynasty, dating back more than 1,600 years. The tomb structure was extremely solid, adorned with delicate carvings rivaling royal palace decorations, reflecting the status and power of its owner. But what truly shocked archaeologists was not just this. Inside, they found many precious antiques, from beautifully crafted ceramics and jade to rare imported items, such as a glass cup from the Byzantine Empire and Western Europe. This is vivid evidence that, as early as the 4th century, Eastern Jin nobles had begun establishing trade relations with the West, something previously thought to be common only during the Tang or Song dynasties. However, the strangest part of the story lies in an unexpected detail. Alongside Wang Bin's remains, archaeologists also discovered the mummified body of a young woman, Wang Danhu, his eldest daughter. This was unusual, as according to ancient Chinese customs, adult daughters were typically buried with their husband's family or in their husband's tomb, never with their birth family. So why was Wang Danhu resting here? The answer was partly revealed when the excavation team found a small ceramic vial near her remains. Modern analysis showed it contained Wuzhishan powder, a famous elixir of the Eastern Jin era, believed to open the mind, prolong life, and even lead toward immortality. Wang Bin, the tomb's owner, was said to have trusted this medicine, and unfortunately, his daughter had used it for many years. Wuzhishan powder contained ingredients like quartz, sulfur, stalactite, and notably mercury, an extremely toxic substance that can cause hallucinations and severe health damage when used long-term. Experts concluded that Wang Danhu suffered serious physiological damage from prolonged use of this medicine, losing her reproductive ability at a very young age. In feudal society, being unable to marry meant a woman had no social support and lost the right to be buried with her husband's family, forcing her to remain with her father, a heartbreaking exception. Behind these so-called miracle pills lies the tragedy of a talented and beautiful daughter whose fate was cruelly destroyed by blind faith in the empty promises of her time. Originally used by Zheng Zhongjing to treat fevers, Wuzhishan powder gradually became a toxic concoction with dangerous components like mercury, both enchanting and destroying the body and mind. The tomb of Wang Bin and Wang Danhu is not only a valuable archaeological site, but also a profound warning to us today. The cost of blindly believing in immortality and false promises can be devastating. In those miraculous pills of the past, there was not only hope, but also deep pain and tragedy. Don't you find it strange that a so-called elixir could become the cause of a troubled life and a tomb holding the sorrow of a father and daughter? This story reminds us that sometimes superstition and misplaced trust can destroy a life, leaving painful traces beneath the earth. Shouldn't we be more cautious about the promises of miracle cures in modern life? I think so. What about you? 12 most shocking archaeological discoveries found recently that baffle scientists. 2,000-year-old mummy still has hair and beard found in a Danish bog. Imagine yourself walking through a quiet bog deep in the peaceful countryside of Denmark. The ground is soaked, mud reaching up to your ankles, the air crisp and cool, filled with the faint smell of decaying plants and damp earth. Suddenly, a scene unfolds that would send chills down anyone's spine. A human body curled up in the mud, skin perfectly preserved, a calm expression on the face as if peacefully napping. Sounds like a crime thriller, right? But this is no staged scene. This is the discovery that shook the world of archaeology. The Tollund Man, the most famous bog mummy ever found, dating back over 2,000 years. It happened in 1950. A group of workers harvesting peat in the Bjeldskov bog in western Denmark unexpectedly came across the body of a man curled up, his head tilted to one side, and, most notably, a rope tied tightly around his neck. His expression was hauntingly strange. No pain, no fear, just an eerie calmness, as if he had been ready to meet death. The police were called immediately, suspecting a recent homicide. But the deeper the investigation went, the more unexpected the story became. Archaeologists quickly stepped in, and after a series of detailed tests, they reached a conclusion that stunned the world. This body dated back to the 4th century BCE, over 2,300 years ago. They named the man Tollund Man, after the place where he was found. But do you know what made him truly extraordinary? It was the astonishing state of preservation. His hair was still intact on his head, his beard hadn't fallen out, and even his skin retained some elasticity. It was as if he had just closed his eyes yesterday, not been resting under the mud for more than 2 millennia. So what kept this body so well preserved through time? The answer lies right beneath him. A special type of acidic bog mud combined with an oxygen-free environment completely stopped bacteria and natural decay processes. Instead of rotting like usual, the body was naturally mummified in a miraculous way, like a priceless gift time had accidentally preserved. But the story doesn't end there, because the biggest mystery remains. Who was Tollund Man? Why was he hanged? And why does his expression seem so unbelievably peaceful? Some researchers believe he may have been sacrificed in a religious ritual, a custom that existed in Iron Age Europe. Back then, people believed human sacrifices pleased the gods and would bring abundant harvests. The rope marks around Tollund Man's neck, along with his curled, respectful posture, support this theory. But that's just speculation. To this day, Tollund Man's true identity remains a mystery. He could have been a prisoner, a convicted criminal, or even a high-status individual chosen as a living offering for a sacred ceremony. 1,150-year-old blanket-wrapped mummy discovered in Peru. You've probably heard of the majestic pyramids of Egypt, hiding countless mysteries of the pharaohs. But let's set that aside for now, because today, I'm taking you somewhere completely different, the mysterious land of Peru. This is where a newly discovered ancient tomb was found right at the top of the Huaca Pucllana pyramid. And what's most fascinating lies within what was unearthed. Picture this. In the heart of modern-day Lima, there's a silent pyramid hiding secrets from more than 1,150 years ago. And now, that door to the past is slowly creaking open before our very eyes. As the layers of dust from centuries past were brushed away, archaeologists were stunned to discover the mummy of a woman, not preserved in a sarcophagus or ornate coffin, but wrapped in blankets. This unusual method of mummification had never been seen in this region before. But that's not all. Surrounding her were 3 mummified children, believed to be sacrificial offerings, a chilling yet not uncommon practice in many ancient civilizations. And this wasn't just another excavation. It marked the first time a fully intact tomb from the Wari civilization had ever been found at this pyramid. Some even say it's a major breakthrough in the effort to decode South American history. So who was this woman, buried with such care and ritual? Experts believe she may have been a high-ranking figure in Wari society, a civilization that flourished around the 7th century AD, long before the rise of the mighty Inca Empire. The layers of fabric and vines wrapped around her body weren't just for preservation. They also held deep spiritual and ceremonial meaning, as if each layer of cloth was a prayer sent to the afterlife. Remember that fake head image that recently made the rounds online? Don't be confused, that wasn't her real head. The head was made of cloth-wrapped wood, symbolizing the deceased, a common element in Wari burial customs. Beneath that fabric covering, there may be just a skeleton, or, if we're lucky, a carefully embalmed, intact body. Creepy to think about, yet oddly fascinating, isn't it? But there's more. Inside the tomb, archaeologists also found 11 jars of alcohol, a ceramic vessel, and 6 cloth bags, some containing corn and sewing tools. It's as if this woman was being sent into her next life, fully equipped with all her daily essentials. A detail that feels both mysterious and deeply human. At this point, the researchers have not dared to unwrap the mummy. They are conducting X-ray scans first to ensure no details are damaged in the process. And you know what? It's that very anticipation that makes this discovery even more thrilling. Because who knows, what other secrets might be waiting beneath those ancient layers of cloth? 400-year-old mummified baby, found in a noble family's crypt. Have you ever imagined that deep beneath the earth, within the final resting place of once powerful aristocratic families, there could lie a heartbreaking story, chilling in its sorrow, about a tiny soul who died before even having the chance to grow up? If not, let's travel back in time together to an ancient crypt in Helmensut, a small town in northern Austria. This was once the burial site of the Starhemberg family, one of the oldest and most influential noble lineages in German-speaking Europe. Inside the crypt were ornate metal coffins, masterfully crafted and glowing with the patina of time, the clear mark of high nobility. But amidst this grandeur, archaeologists turned their attention to a small wooden coffin tucked quietly into a corner. No carvings, no name, just a simple block of wood, as if forgotten by time. And yet, inside that seemingly unremarkable coffin, they found something utterly unexpected: the fully mummified remains of a child, estimated to be about 1 year old, a toddler, buried nearly 400 years ago. Who was this mummified child buried among the elite? And why did they die so young? To answer these questions, German scientists did something unprecedented. They conducted a virtual autopsy using advanced CT scan technology, allowing them to study the body without making a single incision. The results stunned the research community. This little boy was likely Richard Wilhelm, the first child of a new generation of the Starhemberg family. He is believed to have died sometime between 1625 and 1626. His body was miraculously preserved, with skin, hair, and soft tissue still clearly visible. This level of preservation is incredibly rare for a mummy created without the use of modern embalming chemicals. But the most heartbreaking part? The cause of death. Although the child was well nourished, possibly even slightly overweight, he suffered from severe rickets, a disease caused by vitamin D deficiency. His bones, especially his rib cage, showed dramatic deformation. Worse still, the CT scan revealed signs of pneumonia, a condition that may have ultimately claimed his life. At this point, you might be wondering, how could a noble child raised in luxury lack vitamin D? Isn't malnutrition a problem for the poor? Here lies the tragic irony, rooted in the social standards of the time. In 17th century European high society, pale white skin was the ultimate status symbol. Tan skin? That was associated with common laborers. So aristocratic children, including little Richard, were often kept indoors, shielded from sunlight almost entirely. The result? Their bodies couldn't synthesize vitamin D, leading to weakened bones, and when illness struck, they had little strength to fight it. A death not caused by poverty, but by misguided love and societal ideals. A death that reminds us, sometimes, love, when shaped by harmful norms, can take life away instead of protecting it. Today, thanks to science, Richard Wilhelm's story is no longer buried in the shadows. His mummified body, and the knowledge it provides, has shed light on a hidden corner of medical history and the lives of Europe's noble class. More importantly, his story stands as a quiet yet powerful warning that social standards, no matter how well intended, can have consequences far beyond what we imagine. 200-year-old frozen mummy of a woman discovered beneath the Siberian ice. In the bone-chilling land of Siberia, where the cold can bring life itself to a standstill, a discovery has just emerged that left the archaeological world stunned. A woman buried beneath layers of sand and permafrost in Yakutia has been found in a state of near-perfect preservation. Not just bones, but soft tissue, clothing, and even her boots were still intact. At this point, you might be wondering, how could a human body remain so well preserved for nearly 2 centuries? The answer lies in the region's harsh climate. In Yakutia, temperatures can plummet as low as -76 degrees Fahrenheit. It's so cold that if you threw a bucket of boiling water into the air, it would instantly turn to snow. And it's this exact extreme cold that unintentionally became the perfect natural embalmer for this mysterious woman. The person who uncovered this remarkable mummy was Dr. Elena Solovyova, a researcher from the Russian Academy of Sciences. At first, her team believed they had stumbled upon part of an old cemetery connected to Lensky Ostrog, the first Russian settlement in Siberia, established back in 1632. But the deeper they dug, literally and figuratively, the more their initial theory came into question. Upon closer analysis, the team uncovered several surprises. The woman was not Russian, as they had first assumed, but Yakut, a native ethnic group that has lived in Siberia for centuries. On her chest, they found a small cross, suggesting she was a Christian, most likely a result of 19th century missionary influence. Combined with the fact that part of her clothing had been machine-made, researchers concluded she probably lived sometime in the mid-1800s, later than the original burial estimate. And what was she wearing? Not luxurious brocade or elaborate dresses, but traditional Yakut clothing, fur underwear to survive the brutal cold, and torbasa, soft boots made from horse or cowhide, lined with fur inside. From these simple yet practical garments, we gain a vivid glimpse into everyday life in this frozen land 2 centuries ago. One sensitive detail. At first, scientists considered removing her skull for further study, but after much deliberation, they chose not to. Why? Because this was no longer just a skeleton. This was a nearly complete mummy, once a living, breathing person. She may have been a mother, a wife, a daughter, and she deserved to remain whole and undisturbed even in death. And you know what? This isn't the first time Siberia's frozen soil has revealed ancient secrets. Over the years, scientists have discovered well-preserved prehistoric animals buried in the ice, from dogs and wolves to woolly mammoths. And just earlier this month, they found 2 lion cubs that died 26,000 and 44,000 years ago. One starved to death, the other was crushed by falling rocks. It's believed both were abandoned by their mother. A sad yet brutally honest glimpse into the harsh realities of prehistoric life. From the Yakut woman's mummy to these ancient lion cubs, every time the Siberian permafrost cracks open, the past speaks. And it doesn't just tell stories of death, it offers vivid slices of life, of climate, of culture, of belief, and of hope once buried by time. So, what do you think? How many more untold stories might still lie beneath the eternal ice? And if you had the chance, would you dare embark on a journey to uncover the traces of the past in the coldest place on Earth? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. 100 champagne bottles, lying silent on the seabed for 170 years. Off the cold, dark seabed near Sweden, in a place where you'd expect only seaweed and sand to exist, a treasure trove just surfaced that's thrilling archaeologists and wine lovers alike. Over 100 unopened bottles of antique champagne, resting quietly underwater for nearly 2 centuries. The story began during a routine dive by the Polish diving team Baltic Tech. While scanning with sonar off the Åland Islands, about 23 miles from the Swedish coast, they came across something odd, a shipwreck. But this was no crumbled hull. The vessel was astonishingly intact. What really caught their breath was what lay inside. Nearly 100 bottles of champagne, 100 bottles of mineral water, and a number of ancient ceramic items of uncertain origin. It sounds like a treasure hunting film, but this is 100% reality. Tomasz Stachura, the dive leader with over 40 years of experience, said he'd found individual bottles in prior dives, but never a ship carrying a full cargo like this. Now, how did they date the bottles? The clue lay in the ceramic mineral water bottles. Each was stamped with the name Selters, a famous German mineral water brand of the 19th century. Based on their shape, material, and manufacturing technique, experts determined the entire cargo was produced between 1850 and 1867. At last, things started to make sense. Mineral water in those days wasn't just for refreshment. It was considered a luxurious medicine, common at royal banquets and carefully guarded in transit. Champagne? A decadent indulgence of the aristocracy. A hypothesis takes shape. Perhaps this ship was en route to Stockholm, or possibly even St. Petersburg, delivering wine and mineral water to serve the Russian royal court. According to historical records, in 1852, Tsar Nicholas I lost a ship in that region. If this is that ship, then the champagne bottles lying on the seabed for 170 years might once have been reserved for the emperor's own banquet. Beyond wine and mineral water, the ceramic artifacts recovered aboard may help trace the ship's route, its country of origin, and its intended destination. Every piece is a precious fragment in a historical puzzle slowly coming together. Yet recovering these antique bottles is no simple task. Though the discovery has been reported to Swedish authorities, legal processes, preservation rules, and international regulations demand that any salvage operation be carried out with extreme care. As Stashura stated at a press conference, "They've lain there for 170 years. Let them lie for another year so we can do this properly." The question everyone's asking is, can 170-year-old champagne still be drinkable? According to Lita Bester, director of the London Wine Institute, it depends on the original quality, preservation conditions, and how good the cork seals were. If the champagne was a high-end vintage, it's possible some flavor remains. But if it was a more ordinary bottle, today it might be nothing more than colored sparkling water. Personally, even if it isn't drinkable, its historic value is immeasurable. Just imagine holding a bottle that was once destined for a royal feast, lost to the sea for almost 2 centuries, and now in humanity's hands. Isn't that more precious than the wine itself? The magic ring on a 3,300-year-old Egyptian mummy. In the world of archaeology, you don't always uncover artifacts or stories so unusual that the entire scholarly community must pause and ponder. This time, in the southern area of the ancient city Akhetaten, the land once called the Horizon of Aten, now within the modern Amarna region, archaeologists successfully excavated 2 ancient Egyptian skeletons, dating back some 3,300 years. But the most remarkable detail isn't the skeletons themselves. It's a tiny treasure found on the toe of the man in one of the burials. This man, estimated to have been 35 to 40 years old when he died, was buried with cloths, rugs, and, quite intriguingly, a ring made of a copper alloy. But the ring was not placed on a finger, as one would expect. Instead, it rested on the toe of his injured foot. That peculiar placement has sparked a slew of fascinating hypotheses among researchers. Think about it. Why would a ring be on a toe instead of a finger? Could it be simply a piece of jewelry, or might it carry a special meaning, perhaps even a magical function in the belief system of ancient Egyptians? The cause of death for this man is also notable. He suffered severe injuries, with broken ribs, a fractured femur, and damage to his leg bones. And the ring was found on the toe of the very limb that was injured, a fact that supports speculation that the ring may once have been thought to function as a healing or protective device, according to the period's beliefs. Interestingly, this is not the first time such a discovery has been made. In 2012, archaeologists discovered another Egyptian burial in which a ring was placed upon a toe. Yet to this day, the reason why ancient Egyptians would choose to wear rings on toes rather than fingers remains an unresolved question. Did they regard toes as having special significance in the body? Or did the ring itself carry sacred meaning or serve as a protective amulet according to their ritual practices? The ancient Egyptians were well known for complex beliefs. They held that objects could harbor spirits, guard human beings, or aid them in their passage to eternity. Perhaps this ring was not merely someone's accessory, but a symbol of power, a type of talisman intended to heal or ward off misfortune. When people think of ancient Egypt, they often imagine pyramids, pharaohs, and gods. A 2,600-year-old tomb holds a strange silver hand. Back in 2012, a team of archaeologists set out to rediscover the legendary Sun and Moon tomb of the Etruscans. But instead of finding what they expected, they stumbled upon a strange treasure, what became known as the Silver Hand Tomb. This discovery has since deepened our understanding of a long-lost civilization. So, what makes this tomb so special? To answer that, let's go back to where it was discovered. Voltsi, about 75 miles northeast of Rome. There, the team was exploring the Necropoli dell'Osteria Cemetery, which holds Etruscan burials dating from the 4th to the 7th century BCE. Though this region was once famous, by the mid-18th century, the precise location of the Sun and Moon tomb had faded into obscurity. Yet the research team, led by Carlo Cassi, didn't give up. They continued their search and finally uncovered the unusual tomb now called the Silver Hand Tomb. Its name comes from a startling find: 2 intact silver hands discovered inside the burial chamber. Most astonishingly, the left hand was almost perfectly preserved, a testament to the Etruscans' extremely refined craftsmanship. These silver hands are exquisitely detailed, with the palms open, and on the fingers, particularly the nails, traces of gold remain, indicating a combination of silver and gold work so delicate that only master artisans could execute it. So whose tomb is this? The archaeologists believe it was that of a wealthy Etruscan family, based on the tomb's location among others and the sheer volume of funerary objects found. The Etruscans were famed for their artistic metalwork, especially in bronze and gold. Though their origins remain debated by scholars, their legacy, particularly in the production of high art objects, is profound. What's especially intriguing is that, despite the unusual silver hands, they seem connected to an ancient funerary ritual influenced by the Greeks. Archaeologists suggest these silver hands might have been part of a spireleton, a type of funeral figure made of wood, used to guard the soul of the deceased. Such figures could resemble warriors or mimic the deceased person's form. In this case, the figure was shaped like a woman, possibly representing the individual buried in the tomb. Beyond the silver hands, the excavation also unearthed other fascinating items: purple threads used to bind golden buttons to the figure's clothing, gold spheres, amber beads, and bone beads, possibly parts of a necklace. Together, these artifacts let us imagine both life and death for a member of an Etruscan family. Though we still can't pinpoint the exact identity of the person interred, the Silver Hand tomb offers a priceless window into a civilization gone by. Every find in that tomb, from the silver hands to the decorative objects, tells a story of the art, beliefs, and everyday life of the Etruscans, a mysterious civilization that we still cannot fully understand even today. A 3,000-year-old Egyptian girl was found with teeth growing inside her abdomen. Have you ever wondered, among the layers of dust time has laid over ancient civilizations, what's the most mysterious thing archaeologists have ever uncovered? And what if I told you that 3,000 years ago, in the cemetery of a once glorious city by the Nile River, scientists discovered something so strange it left even modern medicine stunned? Would you believe it? This story begins in Amarna, an ancient city that only existed for about a decade, but during that short time, it was the religious and political center of Pharaoh Akhenaten. The city once flourished with temples, palaces, and tens of thousands of residents. But what truly made researchers pause was a unique discovery in Amarna's burial grounds. Buried deep underground, the remains of a young woman, estimated to be around 18 to 20 years old, were found, dating back 3 millennia. That alone isn't particularly shocking, since ancient tombs like these are not uncommon. But when archaeologists dug deeper and examined the body closely, they found something very unusual near the woman's pelvic bones: a mass of tissue containing 2 fully formed teeth. Do you know what that was? It wasn't part of a normal body. It was a rare type of tumor called a teratoma. Just imagine, a tumor that can contain muscle, skin, hair, bone, and even teeth. It sounds like something out of a horror story, but it's a real medical condition confirmed by modern science. The Cleveland Clinic analyzed the specimen and confirmed it to be the oldest teratoma ever discovered, dating back 3,000 years. In the past, only a few teratomas have ever been found in archaeological digs, mostly in Europe and Peru. So why is the Amarna discovery so important? First, it opens a new window into our understanding of ancient medicine. It shows that complex conditions like teratomas existed long ago and occurred across different parts of the world. But more than that, it gives us deeper insight into the lives, health, and possibly even the rituals or beliefs surrounding disease in ancient Egyptian society. Today, medicine is advanced enough that we can surgically remove these tumors entirely. But 3,000 years ago, things were far from simple. With no modern tools or medications, this young woman likely endured a great deal of pain. Though Amarna only existed briefly, its legacy lives on, not just in history, but in medicine and culture as well. This city, with its mysteries like the girl with a teratoma, is like an unopened book, still waiting for more pages to be discovered. So what do you think? Could there be more stories waiting to be uncovered from ancient bones, revealing secrets about the people who lived thousands of years ago? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this incredible discovery. Don't forget to leave your comment below. The 4,800-year-old mother and child skeleton found in Taiwan. Did you know that archaeologists recently made a discovery so powerful it left people both amazed and deeply moved? They unearthed a fossilized skeleton in an extraordinary position, a mother cradling her infant child in her arms, her face gently lowered in a loving, tender gesture. This wasn't just any posture, it captured a sacred moment of motherhood, an emotion that transcends all time and place. And here's the most astonishing part. These remains are nearly 4,800 years old. The discovery was part of an excavation of 48 sets of human remains found in Taiwan at a site called An-ho, located about 6 miles from Taiwan's western coastline in what is now the city of Taichung. Thousands of years ago, An-ho was likely a small coastal fishing village. Scientists have found evidence that the shoreline has shifted significantly over time. Adding to the intrigue, more than 200 shark teeth were discovered scattered throughout the area. What were they used for? Jewelry? Good luck charms? Emergency rations? No one knows for sure, but let's admit it's kind of cool either way. The fossilized mother stood about 5 feet 3 inches tall, while the baby in her arms measured roughly 20 inches, about the size of a newborn infant, just like those today's moms lovingly cuddle. Scientists determined that the remains date back to the Neolithic period, the New Stone Age, when humans first began farming, settling, and living in permanent communities. Even more fascinating, the people of An-ho likely belonged to the Daban King culture, thought to be the first farming communities in Taiwan. These early settlers originated from the southern and southeastern coasts of China around 5,000 years ago. The Daban King culture is recognized as the oldest known Neolithic culture ever found in Taiwan. But if you think this touching mother and child moment only happened in Taiwan, think again. In Qinghai Province, central China, archaeologists uncovered another emotional scene: the remains of a mother shielding her child during a powerful earthquake. This burial site has been dubbed the Pompeii of the East because of its exceptional preservation. Similar to the famous Roman city frozen in time by volcanic ash, the image of a mother kneeling with her arms outstretched, protecting her child, is profoundly moving, even in the form of fragmented bones thousands of years old. These discoveries remind us that, even after millennia, the love between a mother and child remains a sacred, eternal bond. Today's moms and even modern-day dadfluencers can deeply relate to this ancient mother's instinct to do just one thing: protect her child. It just goes to show, science isn't only about numbers, tools, and data. It's also about stories, about human emotion, about life, and sometimes it's about quiet, miraculous moments like a mother holding her baby. That's what makes archaeology so endlessly fascinating. It helps us better understand not just the past, but also ourselves, our roots, and the timeless value of human connection. Limestone coffin. Beneath ancient church. Could the final mystery of Santa Claus be uncovered soon? A quiet morning in Demre, an ancient city in Antalya Province, Turkey, suddenly became the center of global attention when a groundbreaking archaeological discovery was announced. A limestone coffin buried deep beneath the grounds of St. Nicholas Church, and the person believed to be inside? St. Nicholas himself, the real-life figure who inspired the modern-day image of Santa Claus. It sounds like something out of a fairy tale mixed with mythology, but archaeological evidence is slowly bringing us closer to uncovering a historical truth that has been buried for thousands of years. Imagine standing within the cold, ancient stone walls of this church. Beneath your feet lies the possible resting place of one of humanity's most legendary figures. Doesn't that give you chills? St. Nicholas Church isn't just a sacred Christian pilgrimage site. It's also where this thrilling quest for answers begins. Under the direction of Associate Professor Ebru Fatma Funduk from Hatay Mustafa Kemal University, a team of archaeologists working as part of the Legacy of the Future project, supported by Turkey's Ministry of Culture and Tourism, has been following the historical trail for over 35 years. Now, they may have finally reached what previous generations only dreamed of: a limestone sarcophagus measuring about 6.5 feet long, buried nearly 6.5 feet beneath the floor of a 2-story annex of the church. And this is no ordinary tomb. With a raised lid and sloped roof, architectural features typical of the region, this coffin indicates it was made for someone of great importance. Fragments of clay oil lamps and animal bones found nearby further suggest that this was a ceremonial burial site, likely for someone revered, perhaps even considered sacred. Can you feel the excitement, knowing that every piece of earth, every shard of pottery beneath our feet could be part of a forgotten story waiting to be told? So who was St. Nicholas? And how did he become the model for Santa Claus? Far from the jolly red-suited man flying on a sleigh with reindeer, Saint Nicholas was a 4th century bishop known for his generosity and secret gift-giving to the poor, a legacy that evolved over centuries into the Western cultural icon of Christmas we know today. About 20 years after his death, Eastern Roman Emperor Theodosius II ordered the construction of a church at the site of his burial to honor his memory. That very church is where this limestone coffin has now been discovered. But the story doesn't end there. Throughout Europe's turbulent history, the remains of Saint Nicholas are believed to have been relocated. In the 11th century, many accounts claimed his relics were moved to Bari, in southern Italy, where they were enshrined in a grand basilica. Another portion was allegedly taken to Venice during the Crusades and kept in the San Niccolò al Lido monastery. Interestingly, in 1953, researchers analyzed bone fragments from both locations and found that they could plausibly belong to the same person. Still, science has yet to definitively prove that either set of remains belongs to the Saint Nicholas. So, what makes this discovery in Demre so significant? It may represent the first time original physical evidence has been found at the site believed to be Saint Nicholas's original burial place. Archaeologists are now working to uncover inscriptions, artifacts, and to apply precise dating techniques to confirm the identity of the remains. If successful, this discovery could completely reshape how we view one of the world's most enduring legends, and perhaps confirm the existence of a cultural icon long believed to be half real, half fictional. Doesn't it give you goosebumps to think that behind the cheerful image of Santa Claus handing out gifts lies the real story of a humble bishop who quietly helped the poor and has been venerated for over a millennium? And now, we may be standing at the edge of a discovery that could rewrite part of that history. The excavation is still ongoing. The dust of time still covers the limestone coffin buried beneath Demre. But with every strike of the shovel, every handful of earth removed, this is more than archaeology. It's a journey back to the roots of a legend. Who knows? Even as you read this, a new chapter of the story might be unfolding right beneath our feet. A unique treasure hidden deep inside a mysterious black pit. In Baoding City, Hebei Province, China, there is a mountain less than 1,000 feet above sea level. At the foot of this mountain lies a small village called Lang. Many believe that most sites around Lang are related to ancient tombs, and Lang Village is no exception. This village has been guarding tombs for generations. However, over time, the villagers themselves lost track of where the tombs were or who the owners were. In 1968, while constructing a shelter here, a group of workers began blasting rock on the mountain. However, the explosion was unusual. It produced a sharp drum-like sound. Even more surprising, after the blast, except for a small amount of scattered gravel, the large rocks had disappeared. After the explosive settled, the workers looked closer and discovered a large black pit on the mountain. It turned out that all the big rocks had fallen into this pit. Realizing this strange pit might be hiding an ancient tomb, the construction workers immediately reported it to local authorities. Soon after, archaeologists, historians, and even biologists gathered in Lang Village to begin a large-scale excavation. After 3 months of digging and excavation, archaeologists confirmed that this was a Han Dynasty tomb, more than 2,000 years old. The tomb was grand in scale, befitting an emperor. Its owner was Liu Sheng, Prince Jing of Zhongshan, who lived in 113 BC. He was the first vassal prince of the Zhongshan Kingdom, a vassal state under the Han Dynasty. Prince Jing of Zhongshan is also famous as a direct ancestor of Liu Bei, the founding emperor of the Shu Han during the Three Kingdoms period. Liu Sheng was the 9th son of Emperor Jing of Han, the 6th emperor of the Han Dynasty. In 154 BC, Liu Sheng was appointed Prince of Zhongshan by Emperor Jing and ruled over Zhongshan. At the site, archaeologists found over 10,000 cultural relics, including ancient coins estimated to weigh several tons. Among them were more than 4,000 exquisitely crafted artifacts made of gold, silver, bronze, and jade. However, among thousands of artifacts, 3 unique treasures excited experts the most. These treasures even shocked the world because of their value and near impossibility to replicate or copy. These 3 treasures are the golden jade armor. This precious armor was a symbol of the high status of the tomb's occupant during the Han Dynasty. Historical records show that over 2,000 years ago, Han emperors believed that jade could preserve the body of the deceased from decay. Thus, jade was a crucial symbol of noble status and was commonly included as burial objects in elaborate tombs. The golden jade armor was primarily made of gold and jade. In fact, different armors were crafted according to the wearer's rank, using gold, silver, or bronze thread. The process of creating this jade and gold armor was extremely complex, costly, and time-consuming. The Changxin lamp. This lampstand, more than 2,000 years old, is considered more valuable than most gold, silver, and jade vessels found in Prince Jing's tomb. The reason is simple. It was crafted with incredible finesse. The lampstand is shaped like a kneeling palace maid, holding a lamp in one hand while the other hand shields the flame from the wind. This design was revolutionary. It could absorb oil smoke, reduce air pollution, and at the same time enhance the lamp's artistic and elegant appearance. Furthermore, the technique used to cast this bronze lamp was very intricate and unique. The lamp is called Changxin because it has 65 characters inscribed on its base, recording the lamp's power, weight, and owner. The name Changxin refers to the Changxin Palace of the Han Dynasty. The gilded bronze incense burner. The bronze incense burner from Prince Jing's tomb is cast in the shape of a mountain, both unique and exquisite. Its outer surface is gilded with gold. Experts were amazed by its beauty and rarity, stating that this more than 2,000-year-old bronze incense burner was crafted with extreme complexity. It is truly a treasure difficult to fake or reproduce. Today, these three treasures have been recognized as national treasures and are displayed at the Hubei Provincial Museum in China. If you ever have the chance to visit, don't miss seeing these three mysterious treasures. A 3,000-year-old hair strand reveals a truth about ancient Europeans. When people think of the Bronze Age, many imagine primitive metal tools, a lifestyle still tied to hunting and gathering, or vague legends about ancient tribes. But have you ever imagined that more than 3,000 years ago, our ancestors, people living in those distant times, already knew about drugs? Not just speculation or indirect evidence like residue traces on ancient pottery, but direct, clear proof found in their very hair strands. It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, yet this is a groundbreaking discovery recently published in the journal Scientific Reports. It all began with a cave on the island of Menorca, the gem of Spain nestled in the heart of the Mediterranean. This cave, called Es Carrots, was accidentally discovered by explorers in 1995. However, it wasn't until years later that archaeologists started peeling back the dusty veil of time covering the site. They found the remains of over 200 individuals, a number large enough to confirm that this was once a long-term living community. What shocked them even more than the human bones or artifacts were the finely crafted wooden boxes, carefully sealed, containing bundles of red hair. No one imagined that those strands of hair would rewrite part of human history. Using ultra-high-resolution mass spectrometry, researchers detected traces of atropine, scopolamine, and ephedrine in the hair, three compounds known to cause hallucinations, stimulate the nervous system, and alter states of consciousness. To put it simply, these are substances commonly found in natural drugs. What's fascinating is that these compounds could not have entered the body naturally unless the individuals intentionally consumed them. Moreover, tests showed that these people had been using these substances over a long period, at least a year, ruling out accidental or one-time use. So, what were they using them for? Of course, we can't travel back in time to ask them, but researchers propose a compelling hypothesis. These hallucinogenic substances may have been used in religious rituals, guided by ancient shamans. Within the mystical space of the cave, under the flickering light of fires and the echo of ceremonial drums, these ancient people might have sought to communicate with the other world, or search for answers from the gods by altering their states of awareness. This discovery not only opens a new chapter in the history of European archaeology, but also raises profound questions about the complexity of our ancestors' spiritual lives. Perhaps humans have always harbored a deep desire to understand themselves and the universe, even while they were still crafting tools from stone. And if that is true, then the spiritual history of humankind may be far longer and more mysterious than we ever imagined. 13 shocking one-of-a-kind archaeological discoveries in China. That shook the world. The ancient tomb that made construction workers tremble and collapse to the ground. There's a saying that goes, "Life is full of strange and unexpected events no one can ever foresee." But what would you think if one day your very own name appeared on a centuries-old tombstone buried deep underground. Sounds like something straight out of a horror movie, doesn't it? Yet this eerie story is completely real, and it sent an entire construction site in China into sheer panic. It all began on a seemingly ordinary morning in March 2018 at a construction site in China. The workers, including a young man on the crew, were busy under the sun, preparing the foundation for a new building. Everything was going according to plan, until the excavator dug deeper and unearthed a strange structure, an ancient tomb. Shocked but intrigued, the workers quickly gathered around the site. The thought that treasure might be hidden inside immediately crossed their minds. After all, according to long-held beliefs in many Asian cultures, ancient tombs, especially large ones, were often the resting places of nobles or high-ranking individuals, who were buried with valuables like gold, antiques, and precious artifacts. Excitement began to build, but within minutes the upbeat atmosphere turned heavy and chilling. One of the workers approached the tombstone to take a closer look. Suddenly, his face went pale, his whole body started shaking, and he collapsed on the spot. His co-workers rushed to help him, and when they looked at the tombstone, they were left speechless. Carved clearly into the ancient stone was the full name of that very same construction worker. Not just the surname, but his entire name, down to the exact spelling. A chilling silence fell over the site. Everyone felt a cold shiver run down their spines. No one dared to speak, but the fear in their eyes was unmistakable. Was this a sign? A warning from the afterlife? The bizarre story quickly spread across the site, and understandably, the worker whose name was on the tombstone fell into complete panic. No one wanted to keep digging, and the site managers had no choice but to call in archaeologists to investigate the situation. The final conclusion, thankfully, brought relief to everyone. According to the archaeologists, the tomb belonged to a high-ranking official from ancient times. The name match was purely coincidental and held no spiritual or supernatural significance whatsoever. After receiving a full explanation, the worker gradually calmed down and returned to his job as usual. Still, he admitted that the experience would forever be etched in his memory, because coming face to face with your own tombstone in broad daylight is a shock few could ever imagine. The story didn't just rattle the construction crew, it also caught fire on social media, sparking widespread discussion. It brought back an eerie but familiar question. In a world of over 7 billion people, how many might be walking around with your exact name? And if you were ever to come across that name in a very unexpected situation, how would you react? Have you ever met someone with the same name as yours? Or found yourself in a bizarre situation like this one? If so, don't hesitate to share your story in the comments below. A 2,000-year-old astronomical calendar, found inside an ancient Chinese tomb. Have you ever wondered how ancient people kept track of time before modern technology existed? During an archaeological excavation in southwestern China, an astonishing discovery revealed the answer, one that left the global archaeological community in awe. A remarkably well-preserved astronomical calendar, estimated to be 2,000 years old, was unearthed in a tomb dating back to the Western Han Dynasty. Buried deep beneath the soil in Wulong District, over 870 miles southwest of Beijing, this tomb was far more than just a simple architectural structure. It served as a treasure trove, preserving countless valuable artifacts. Among them, the most remarkable find was a set of 23 small rectangular wooden pieces, each measuring about 1 inch wide and 4 inches long. Carved into each piece were finely inscribed characters representing the heavenly stems and earthly branches system, an ancient Chinese calendrical and astrological framework that originated more than 3,600 years ago during the Shang Dynasty around 1600 BCE. This system was not merely a method for recording dates. It was intricately tied to astrology, fate, and the movement of celestial bodies. What made this calendar especially fascinating was its practical design. One wooden piece likely represented the current year, while the other 22 served as tools to calculate or identify any year within the 60-year traditional Chinese calendrical cycle. In essence, this was an advanced reference calendar for its time, allowing users to easily determine years in relation to the cycle. While previous discoveries have shown that ancient Chinese recorded information on materials like bamboo or wood, this is the first time that wooden pieces containing a complete astronomical calendar system have been found within a tomb. This groundbreaking find has sparked curiosity not only about how ancient people measured time, but also about the tomb's occupant, clearly an important figure in ancient Chinese society. According to archaeologist Wang Meng, the wooden tomb was exceptionally well preserved, making it one of the rarest finds in southwestern China. Alongside the calendar, archaeologists also uncovered jade, bronze artifacts, and other intricately crafted items, indicating that the tomb belonged to someone of high status, possibly a government official or a powerful figure during the prosperous era of the Western Han. Naturally, the discovery attracted the attention of more than just archaeologists. The astronomical community also took great interest. Ed Krupp, director of the Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles, emphasized that this was the first and only known example of a calendar system being inscribed on wooden pieces. He noted that this wasn't just an ordinary calendar. It functioned more like a time-referencing toolkit that could be applied to any year within the 60-year cycle. This discovery not only expands our understanding of ancient Chinese astronomical systems, but it also highlights the tomb's cultural and historical significance, a vault preserving knowledge, technology, and the spirit of a sophisticated civilization. It stands as living proof of timeless intelligence and the sustainable development of a mighty civilization. Can you imagine? 2,000 years ago, the Chinese had already developed a tool not just to mark time, but to align their lives and destinies with the cycles of the cosmos. Now that's genius, isn't it? The 3,000-year-old bronze dragon discovered in a Shanxi tomb, China. Have you ever heard of an ancient treasure being unexpectedly discovered right in the middle of a field while a farmer was plowing? If not, let me take you back to 1959. That year, a farmer in Taohua Village, Shilu County, Luliang City, Shanxi Province, China, was out in the field with his buffalo when he noticed a dark hole in the ground. Upon closer inspection, he realized it was an ancient tomb and quickly reported it to the local Cultural Relics Bureau. While waiting for the archaeological team to arrive, some curious locals climbed down into the tomb hoping to find treasure. However, before they could make it far inside, they were startled to see the soil beneath the tomb had turned a deep red, almost the color of blood. Terrified, they immediately fled the scene, not daring to look back. When the Shanxi Provincial Archaeological team arrived and investigated the site, they confirmed that the tomb was large and built to a high standard. The red soil, they explained, came from the presence of cinnabar, a mineral often used in ancient Chinese burials. The tomb dated back approximately 3,000 years to the Shangzhou period. Over the course of more than 20 continuous days and nights of excavation, archaeologists uncovered more than 50 bronze artifacts from the Shang and Zhou dynasties. These included a complete set of bronze bells, 7 bronze cauldrons, and numerous other bronze items of various sizes. Based on the artifacts recovered, the team concluded the tomb likely belonged to a noble from the late Shang to early Zhou period. About a month later, the team had finished sorting and packing all the cultural relics to be transported to a laboratory for cleaning and restoration. Just as they were about to leave, it suddenly began to pour rain. One archaeologist remembered that a certain item still hadn't been retrieved from inside the tomb, so he and a colleague braved the rain and re-entered the site. As the rain intensified, water began to accumulate rapidly in the tomb. Within minutes, the water level rose to knee height, forcing the two archaeologists to move cautiously, step by step. Suddenly, one of them tripped over something submerged beneath the water and almost fell. Fortunately, his colleague managed to catch him in time. Curious about what he had stumbled on, especially since the tomb had supposedly been cleared, he reached down into the murky water and began to feel around. Eventually, he pulled out an object he would never forget, a bronze dragon with fierce, sharp teeth. Stunned, he rushed outside holding the artifact and shouted, "Hey! I found a treasure! Everyone, come look!" The rest of the team, who had been busy loading equipment, dropped everything and gathered around. What they saw was a bronze dragon unlike anything they had ever encountered. Its form was strange, with intricate carvings that were truly extraordinary. One expert on site immediately advised, "We need to alert the police as soon as possible. There may still be undiscovered relics below." To prevent any remaining artifacts from being looted, the archaeologists quickly filed a request with the local Public Security Bureau for protection. Soon after, a team of officers arrived and took turns guarding the tomb. Upon further inspection, the dragon was determined to be a bronze vessel, made of greenish bronze. It measured about 17 inches long and 5 inches wide. The belly was rounded and bulging, with a flat-cut tail. On its back, there was a hook shaped like a roof tile. Altogether, it resembled a dragon boat anchored in still water, an extremely unique design. None of the archaeologists had ever seen a dragon-shaped artifact like it. Based on the tomb's layout and burial style, the team concluded that the bronze dragon was actually a wine vessel from the Shang dynasty. Even more impressively, it was made of green bronze, a highly valued alloy. Given its material and age, experts declared the vessel to be of immense historical and cultural value, worthy of being classified as a national treasure. It was later named Longxingzun, meaning dragon-shaped wine vessel. In an effort to trace the origin of the Longxingzun, the archaeological team gathered clues from across the country. Eventually, they identified its original owner, the father-in-law of Zhang Zia, a founding statesman of the Zhou dynasty in the 12th century BCE and ruler of the ancient state of Qi, which existed from the Western Zhou to the Warring States period. According to legend, Zhang Zia once hosted King Wu of Zhou at his home. During the banquet, as food and wine were being served, the king was captivated by a dragon-shaped wine vessel hanging from a rope in the center of the room. Its posture was regal, and with just a slight lift of its tail, fine wine would pour from its mouth. King Wu was fascinated and asked Zhang Zia where the vessel had come from. Zhang hesitated and tried to avoid answering. Offended, the king stood up to leave. Zhang quickly stopped him and explained that the vessel had been made by his father-in-law, who created it as a memorial to innocent people killed by King Zhou of Shang, a notoriously tyrannical ruler. Afterward, Zhang's father-in-law gifted the vessel to him, and upon his death, Zhang had buried it in his tomb. With this, archaeologists confirmed that the tomb discovered in Shanxi belonged to Zhang Zia's father-in-law. The tomb and its contents are of immense research value to historians and archaeologists alike. As for the dragon-shaped wine vessel, it was later classified as a first-class national cultural relic by the National Cultural Heritage Administration of China. It is strictly forbidden to be displayed outside of the country. Today, it is housed in the Shanxi Museum, prominently displayed in the main hall as one of its crown jewels. If you ever get the chance, it's absolutely worth visiting to witness this remarkable piece of ancient Chinese craftsmanship for yourself. The 1,000-year-old wall. You've probably heard of the Silk Road, a crossroads between East and West where ancient civilizations once met, traded, and exchanged cultures. Recently, archaeologists made a remarkable discovery along this historic trade route, a special remnant from the legendary kingdom of Lulan. Located in what is now the northeastern part of the Lop Desert in Xinjiang, northwestern China, this ancient site is slowly revealing its secrets through meticulous excavations. According to experts from the Xinjiang Institute of Archaeology, the newly uncovered fortress wall is circular in shape, with a diameter of up to 984 feet. Although only ruins remain, the foundation of the wall is still clearly visible, measuring between 7.2 and 8.9 feet wide. The remaining sections of the wall stand as high as 8.2 feet, offering a vivid glimpse into the scale and strength of this once imposing structure. These walls are not merely remnants of an ancient civilization. They are powerful evidence of the Lulan kingdom's prosperity. Strategically located along the Silk Road, Lulan played a vital role in intercontinental trade and cultural exchange. What's especially noteworthy is that archaeologists didn't just uncover the fortress ruins, they also discovered a wealth of valuable artifacts in nearby tombs. These include wooden plates, bronze mirrors, wooden combs, and textiles, precious items that offer valuable insights into the daily life and culture of the Lulan people. Through carbon dating, archaeologists have estimated that this area dates back to the late Eastern Han Dynasty, 25 to 220 AD, a critical period in Chinese history. Historical records indicate that the kingdom of Lulan emerged around the 2nd century BCE, gaining prominence as a major transit hub on the Silk Road. However, due to its harsh geography, surrounded by desert, and various challenges such as water scarcity and warfare, Lulan was forced to relocate its capital several times. In 108 BCE, the Han dynasty defeated Lulan and turned it into a vassal state, effectively making it a puppet kingdom under Han control. Eventually, Lulan vanished entirely during the Tang dynasty. The ruins of Lulan first gained attention in 1900 when Swedish explorer Sven Hedin discovered them. His findings fascinated not only archaeologists but also history enthusiasts around the world. Back then, Heaton found a square-shaped wall about 35 miles away from the newly discovered circular one, indicating that much of Lulan's legacy is still buried beneath the sands, waiting to be unearthed. Future excavations are expected to reveal even more significant discoveries. These digs have received strong support from the Chinese government, with dedicated funding allocated to advance archaeological research. Items such as Han Dynasty coins, tools, and textiles bearing Greco-Roman designs have opened new perspectives on cultural interactions between major civilizations of the ancient world. Once an essential node on the Silk Road, the Kingdom of Lulan has left behind invaluable traces of a glorious era. From fortress ruins to precious artifacts, every discovery reinforces the idea that Lulan was not just a trading post, but a far-reaching civilization with a profound legacy. And who knows? Perhaps in the near future, new discoveries buried in the desert sands will help us better understand a forgotten chapter of history. A skeleton with a severely deformed forehead. On a mountainside in Liqiao Town, Henan Province, China, there is a massive earthen mound measuring about 197 feet in diameter and 49 feet high. In 1995, a team of archaeologists from Henan Province discovered an ancient tomb at this site. The depth of the tomb is approximately 18.4 feet from the surface to the top of the coffin and about 31.5 feet from the surface to the bottom. Surrounding the tomb are 7 layers of soil, with each step measuring 2.6 feet in width and height and maintaining a slope of roughly 33 feet. The burial mound was filled with a fine, compact, reddish-brown soil known as 5-color soil. After digging just about 4 inches into the ground, the archaeologists uncovered wooden spades, shovel handles, bamboo baskets, and other ancient household items. Part of the tomb had collapsed, and at its center lay the coffin. During the excavation, the team found multiple signs that tomb robbers had broken in to steal valuables and grave goods, most likely during the Eastern Han Dynasty. Despite the looting, many artifacts remained intact, including swords, arrowheads, wooden clubs, chariots, pottery, ceremonial robes, armor, white jade figurines, and amethyst crystals. Some of the artifacts had inscriptions that helped experts decode the identity of the tomb's owner. One weapon bore the words, "The halberd used by Lord Pingye Juncheng." Based on this and other inscriptions, archaeologists believe the tomb belonged to Pingye Juncheng, a nobleman who was granted land and title in Pingyu, or Pingye County, part of the ancient state of Chu. His personal name was Cheng, and he was therefore known as Lord Pingye Juncheng. Additionally, bamboo slips found in the tomb reveal that Lord Pingye Juncheng had close ties with high-ranking figures of the time, including King Wen of Chu, King Zhao of Chu, King Hui of Chu, Lord Pingye Wenjun, and Pingye Zixi. In the western chamber of the tomb, archaeologists uncovered 7 skeletons, along with jade ornaments. These individuals were likely the personal maidservants of the tomb's owner and were buried at around 20 years of age. One skeleton, in particular, caught the researchers' attention: the remains of a woman with a severely deformed forehead. Her frontal bone was grotesquely misshapen, likely the result of tightly wrapping cloth around her head for an extended period. According to experts, this was an ancient beauty practice. In those times, women would bind their heads with silk cloth for long durations in order to reshape their foreheads and skulls into a more slender form. This was considered an ideal of beauty, one that captivated royalty and nobility. A small forehead and a narrow head were thought to be highly attractive. Due to long-term head binding, this particular woman's skull became even more severely deformed than others. What do you think of this bizarre beauty tradition? Personally, I find it absolutely crazy, to be honest. The giant dragon fossil. Since ancient times, dragons have been mystical symbols in many cultures, often depicted as large, powerful creatures with magical abilities. However, most people have long believed dragons were merely products of imagination, crafted through folklore and myth. But in 1996, a groundbreaking discovery challenged that belief. In Guanling Miao Autonomous County, located in Anshun City, Guizhou Province, China, archaeologists unearthed a fully intact fossilized skeleton of what appears to be a dragon, completely transforming how we view this legendary creature. The fossil measures approximately 25 feet long and features striking characteristics: 2 sharp horns and large upturned nostrils, closely matching descriptions found in traditional folklore. The dragon's head is roughly triangular in shape, with an elongated mouth, offering a remarkably lifelike image of this mysterious being. The two-pointed horns curve slightly upward from the top of its skull, creating a symmetrical and graceful appearance that closely mirrors legendary depictions of dragons. This marks the first time a dragon fossil with horns has ever been discovered, raising fascinating questions about the origins and potential existence of this mythical species. The discovery not only holds significant scientific value, but also helps researchers explore deeper connections between ancient creatures and the myths humanity has passed down through generations. Today, the fossil is on display at the Museum of Ancient Fossil Life in Anshun, where it draws both curious visitors and researchers from around the world. It's fair to say that what this dragon skeleton leaves behind is more than just evidence of a creature we once believed to be purely fictional. It sparks curiosity and a sense of wonder about the mysteries of the natural world we've yet to fully understand. Do dragons truly exist, or are they simply remnants of a mythical past waiting to be deciphered? That's a hard question to answer, isn't it? The giant, 24.6 feet sword, found beneath a riverbed. Have you ever heard of legendary ancient swords like the Phoenix Treasure Sword, Green Dragon Sword, or the dragon-slaying saber from Chinese historical tales? Probably yes, but have you ever heard of a sword 24.6 feet long, weighing over 3,395 pounds, discovered beneath a dried-up riverbed? Probably not. Let's dive into the fascinating story of a gigantic sword unearthed from the bed of the Sai River in Yuncheng County, Shandong Province, a one-of-a-kind artifact shrouded in mystery. In the spring of 1988, the Sai River suddenly ran dry. Villagers from Daqiao village seized the opportunity to extract sand for construction. While digging about 3.3 feet below the mud, a local man stumbled upon a strange object. Initially thought to be a lump of iron, further digging, with the help of others, revealed something astonishing: an enormous sword buried deep in the soil for generations. The villagers immediately contacted local cultural experts. Upon examination, the sword measured 24.6 feet in length and approximately 3,395 pounds, an unimaginable size for any traditional weapon. Although the blade had rusted over time, the intricate carvings were still visible, most notably the image of a qi xie, a mythical wolf-bodied beast from Chinese culture, symbolizing power and authority. The sword's hilt remained well preserved, with the inscription Kangxi Year 56, indicating it was forged during the height of the Qing dynasty, around 1717. Naturally, many wondered, could such a massive sword have ever been used in battle? The answer is an obvious no. With its enormous size and weight, it would be impossible to wield or swing in combat. So what was the true purpose of this massive sword? To uncover the truth, researchers turned to historical records. A document titled Gazetteer of Yangtze County noted that in the summer of Kangxi's 50th year, 1712, the lower reaches of the Sai River experienced severe flooding. The floodwaters were so intense they even broke the base of a bridge crossing the river. At that time, Jin Yifeng, the county magistrate of Yuncheng, not only funded the bridge repairs, but also commissioned the creation of a massive sword featuring the qi xie. His purpose? To suppress the waters, a traditional belief that placing a symbolic object could subdue natural disasters and protect the local population. The qi xie, considered a child of the dragon in Chinese mythology, symbolized power and protection. The sword, therefore, was a spiritual talisman, embodying mystical strength to ward off floods. It was planted upright beneath the river, serving as a guardian of the region. However, over time, raging waters swept the sword away, burying it beneath the riverbed, where it lay undisturbed for centuries. Upon learning the sword's historical and cultural significance, the villagers of Daqiao grew concerned. They believed that if the sword wasn't returned to the river, floods might return. Many called on authorities to rebury the sword to continue its protective role. However, experts reassured the public that the idea of using such objects to suppress water was superstitious. Moreover, leaving the sword submerged would cause irreversible damage to this national treasure. The 2,500-year-old tomb complex with 47 rare non-Mu wooden coffins. The journey to uncover ancient history is always full of surprises and mysteries, and the story of the 2,500-year-old tomb complex in Lijiya Village, Jing'an County, Jiangxi Province, China, is a vivid testament to that. In 2008, Chinese archaeologists launched a promising excavation project at this site, and their discoveries amazed both the archaeological community and the public. First of all, the size of the tomb complex alone was astonishing. The tomb measured about 37.7 feet wide, 52.5 feet long, and 9.8 feet deep, a massive scale belonging to the Eastern Zhou dynasty, from 770 to 221 BCE. But the most remarkable feature was the number 47 coffins, all crafted from non-mu wood, a rare and precious type of timber renowned not only for its durability and excellent resistance to decay, but also for its distinctive fragrance, which made it highly valued among ancient Chinese woods. From the very beginning of the excavation, the first 9 coffins were opened. Although some had suffered damage over time and due to tomb robbers, the historical value they held was undeniable. Inside the coffins, relatively intact human remains were found, along with many valuable artifacts such as bronze items, gold, silk, porcelain, and jade, opening a precious window into the culture and burial customs of the Eastern Zhou period. The coffins were designed with uniform dimensions, ranging from 8.2 to 9.2 feet long and about 1.6 feet wide, arranged in a tightly ordered sequence inside the tomb complex. This not only reflected respect, but also a deliberate arrangement, revealing ancient insights into the spiritual world and the connection among those buried together in the sacred space. Mr. Fan Changsheng, director of the Jiangxi Provincial Archaeological Institute, stated that all the coffins have now been transferred to a climate-controlled preservation facility with strict temperature and environmental monitoring systems to ensure the best conservation of these valuable relics. This effort not only helps preserve the cultural heritage intact, but also supports in-depth research to understand the causes of death of the tomb occupants, the timing of their burial, and the reasons they were interred together. However, despite the successful excavation, many mysteries around this tomb complex remain unsolved. Over millennia, much of the evidence has faded, and only a small portion of the valuable artifacts remain. Therefore, studying and analyzing every detail to shed light on the full story will be a long and challenging journey. Let's patiently wait for the latest updates as new information emerges. The Western Han Golden Horse, an incredibly valuable treasure. In the 1980s, there was a small farming village in Shanxi Province, China, where most people made their living by agriculture. One day, an elderly farmer accidentally dug up a metal object. Busy with his work, he set the strange item aside. After finishing, he checked it carefully and noticed a golden shine emerging from the mud. This discovery amazed the villagers, who quickly reported it to the relevant authorities. When experts arrived and began excavating the site, they found a tomb dating back to the Western Han dynasty. Among the artifacts uncovered, the metal object the farmer found proved to be the most valuable, a gold-plated horse sculpture estimated to be worth about $75 million. The Western Han Golden Horse weighs approximately 79 pounds, stands about 24.4 inches tall, and measures around 30 inches in length. The statue's posture is graceful, its proportions balanced, and its craftsmanship exquisite, radiating a uniquely majestic spirit. Remarkably, it still shines brightly after thousands of years. This golden horse was made with extraordinary precision. Experts note it has 6 teeth, prominent rabbit-like front teeth, dragon-shaped eyes, fine hair beneath its ears, striped patterns on its neck, a curved belly, firm muscles, a braided tail, and anatomically accurate muscles and bones carved in detail. In Chinese historical records, biographies, and literature, the image of the golden horse or Kim Ma is well known, but until now, no one had ever seen an original model. This excavation marked the first time such a golden horse was uncovered. The horse's calm yet striking appearance is rendered naturally and simply, yet the overall effect is lifelike and vibrant. The statue is not made of pure gold, but rather coated with a thin layer of gold plating, which still makes it extremely valuable. Why is that? According to researchers, the horse's core is made of bronze with a gold-plated exterior, giving it a brilliant golden hue. This is due to the ancient gilding technique used, creating a shiny, durable golden surface. This craftsmanship highlights the perfection achieved by artisans of the time in metal melting and gold plating. Thus, this artifact is a rare national treasure with immense cultural and historical significance. It witnessed the glorious peak of ancient Chinese art and craftsmanship. At the same time, the golden horse reflects the exceptional intelligence and skills of ancient artisans and demonstrates the flourishing civilization China had during the Western Han period. The discovery of the golden horse caused a huge sensation at the time. This Western Han gold-plated horse is a rare cultural relic of China, carrying immense historical, archaeological, cultural, and scientific value. The mysterious Tang Dynasty, noble tomb in Shaanxi, China. Archaeologists in Shaanxi Province, China, made a spectacular discovery when they excavated an ancient tomb dating back to the Tang Dynasty, 618 to 907 AD. This was not only a significant historical find, but also a journey into the fascinating stories of art, belief, and life during one of China's golden eras. After years of excavation, the archaeologists began to reveal some of the mysteries of this tomb. The first thing that astonished them was the entrance gate, decorated with swirling plant motifs, characteristic of Tang Dynasty art. These details not only demonstrated meticulous craftsmanship, but also reflected the spiritual beliefs of the time, blending nature with contemporary culture. Beside the gate stood a pair of statues clad in robes, standing solemnly. These figures likely served as guardians of the tomb, a reminder of the spiritual world's presence and supernatural powers. Deeper inside, the archaeologists discovered a passage leading to the main burial chamber. Notably, the ceiling of this passage was cone-shaped and adorned with paintings of 4 mythical creatures from Chinese mythology. Among them were a dragon, symbolizing supreme power, and a phoenix, representing rebirth and prosperity. These images were not merely decorative, but embodied profound spiritual values in Tang Dynasty culture. Inside the main burial chamber, the archaeologists were again amazed by the exquisite wall paintings. The vibrant murals depicted various scenes of daily life, from people strolling through peaceful countryside to lush green tree canopies overhead. This style, known as paintings beneath the tree canopy, was a hallmark of Tang art, emphasizing natural harmony and integration with the surrounding environment. These murals were not only beautiful works of art, but also stories about people, their relationship with nature, and the cosmos. What made the tomb even more mysterious was the combination of bright colors used in the murals. Whites, reds, yellows, blacks, greens, and oranges brought the images on the walls and ceilings to life, showcasing the advanced painting techniques of the Tang era. These colors were not just aesthetic choices, but also likely held symbolic meanings connected to natural and cosmic elements, bridging the earthly world with the spiritual realm. Though the tomb was dated to the 8th century, the identity of its occupant remains unknown. Some speculate it belonged to an important figure of the Tang Dynasty. Others even suggest that the artist behind the murals might be the same person who decorated the tomb of Shen Ji, the founding king of the Min Kingdom during the 5 Dynasties and 10 Kingdoms period. This adds to the tomb's mystery and draws great attention from archaeologists and history enthusiasts alike. This ancient tomb is not only a vivid testament to the cultural and artistic achievements of Tang China, but also a treasure trove of mysteries about people, life, and beliefs from over 1,000 years ago. In short, these discoveries offer a clear window into a glorious era of history. What do you think about these findings? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. The twisted remains of the longest reigning emperor of the Ming Dynasty, China. Did you know that the longest reigning emperor of the Ming Dynasty in China was Emperor Shenzong, also known as the Wanli Emperor? He ascended the throne at the age of 10 and single-handedly presided over a prosperous era for the Ming Dynasty. In 1956, experts decided to excavate the Mingding tomb, the burial site of the Wanli Emperor. It took 2 years under the leadership of Guo Moruo for the archaeological work to be completed. Due to the limited technology at that time, the process was extremely labor-intensive. At the site, they discovered a large number of burial objects, including jade and silk fabrics. Unfortunately, the experts back then lacked sufficient experience and understanding to properly preserve these artifacts. As a result, many cultural relics rapidly oxidized and deteriorated upon exposure to air, causing significant losses. As time passed, archaeologists finally reached the deepest chamber where they found the coffin that concealed the emperor's remains. The coffins of Emperor Shenzong and his two empresses were placed on an underground palace bed. Nearby were 26 red-lacquered wooden boxes filled with burial goods. The emperor's coffin was enormous, about 5.9 feet tall, and filled with many funerary items. By the time of excavation, over 300 years had passed since the emperor was buried. Inside, the smell was overwhelming, and the body had decomposed, leaving only some hardened, uncorroded bones. Archaeologists were stunned to discover the body in a very unusual position. Instead of being laid flat on his back like a typical burial, the emperor's remains were twisted in an almost unbelievable way. Why such a strange posture? Some archaeologists suggested that the body was originally placed normally but shifted during transportation. However, this idea was quickly dismissed because the burial items were neatly arranged inside the coffin, indicating there had been no disturbance. After further study, experts concluded that the twisted posture was deliberate. In ancient beliefs, the Big Dipper constellation Beidou was considered the resting place of emperors after death. Thus, the emperor's body was positioned to resemble the shape of the Big Dipper. Moreover, not only Emperor Wanli's posture, but also the layout of all Ming Dynasty imperial tombs was designed according to this constellation. From this, it can be inferred that beyond Emperor Wanli, the burial positions of other Ming emperors were also arranged to reflect the Big Dipper's shape. What do you think about this? Personally, I find this emperor's story quite tragic. Mascao Grave, from a horrific massacre, over 4,100 years ago. In northeast China, near Heilongjiang Province, a shocking archaeological discovery in the 1990s captured the attention of researchers worldwide. This mass grave, estimated to be around 4,100 years old, was uncovered at the Honghe Archaeological Site. Archaeologists excavated dozens of skeletons, primarily of women and children, all of whom had been decapitated, a finding unprecedented in previous excavations and chilling to many. The brutality of this discovery immediately sparked theories. Some researchers propose it may indicate a religious ritual, while others suspect it reflects a violent conflict between tribes during the Neolithic period. Among the 68 skeletons found, 41 were headless, and although some skulls were discovered in surrounding areas, most of the bodies lacked their heads. Current analyses suggest these skeletons, predominantly women and children, were likely victims of an attack by a rival tribe. Some theories propose the tribe was ambushed while the men were away from the camp. Notably, 32 of the skeletons in the mass grave showed signs of brutal torture, suggesting they were killed during a raid. It is likely that after the attack, the surviving men buried the victims in separate pits before permanently abandoning the area. This discovery has not only drawn the attention of anthropologists, but also raised questions about violence among ancient tribes. Some hypothesize that the decapitations may have been part of religious rituals, where victors sought to absorb the souls of their enemies to gain strength. The Honghe tribe, around 4,100 years ago, is believed to have been a hunter-fisher community with a defensive system around their living area. Ongoing research continues to investigate the true cause of this brutality, though many theories remain speculative. Nevertheless, the discovery of this mass grave remains a chilling tale, reminding us of the mysteries and fears embedded in humanity's past. Perfectly preserved food, found in an ancient Chinese tomb. In 1959, archaeologists in Xinjiang, China, conducted an excavation of an ancient tomb in Turpan and made a fascinating discovery. Inside the tomb, experts found dumplings that were remarkably well preserved, despite having been sleeping underground for thousands of years. What's especially surprising is that these dumplings still retain their original shape and color, looking almost identical to the dumplings we see today. Quite an unexpected find, isn't it? Dumplings are not unfamiliar food. They have been popular and widely enjoyed in China for thousands of years, especially loved by people in the western regions. Besides the dumplings, archaeologists also uncovered other types of pastries in the tomb, such as mooncakes, sweet cakes, and various desserts, showing that the cuisine of that time was rich and diverse. According to experts, one key factor that helped preserve these foods so well is the climate in the Xinjiang area. With its hot and dry weather, the foods lost moisture quickly, which helped keep them from decaying or changing over thousands of years. Additionally, Based on the types of food found in the tomb, experts believe the tomb's owner was likely a wealthy individual. Ancient people often believed that after death, they would live a prosperous and comfortable life in the afterworld. For this reason, they buried their loved ones with favorite items, food, clothing, and valuable possessions, hoping the deceased would continue to enjoy a full life even after passing. What do you think about this ancient Chinese custom? Personally, I find it fascinating. This discovery not only gives us deeper insight into ancient culinary culture, but also opens interesting reflections on the beliefs and traditions of people from long ago. You see, China always holds many mysteries, and no matter how much time passes, stories about them continue to spark our curiosity and amazement, especially in ancient tombs, where not only valuable treasures are buried, but also untold historical stories and secrets waiting to be revealed. Every excavation, every discovery opens up a whole new world, making us appreciate and cherish even more the amazing cultural and historical values of this country. So, how about you? What impresses you most about China? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below, and don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video. For now, goodbye, and see you next time.